Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Her Hoop Stats Network. We are here for the West Coast Conference Media Day, and we're going to start off with Oregon State head coach Scott Rueck, and we're going to let the players introduce themselves, get them some media training going on today. And you can use this as a mic; it should pick you up from there. So, yeah.
Well, my name is AJ Marat. I'm a senior from Austin, Texas.
I'm Kelsey Reese. I'm also a senior from Atlanta, Australia.
Oh boy, I love it. And I'm Christy Winter Scott. Since I'm asking everyone else to introduce themselves, Christy Winter Scott, along with Calvin Wetzel. And Scott, I know you are so excited as we sit on the precipice of starting at another season. What excites you most about what you've seen from your team so far?
Everything. It's a on-brand Oregon State team. You know, of course, we have a lot of new this year. 5 returners, 7 new players. But I just love the way we're competing. I love the way they are coachable. There's no ego in the gym, which I think is really important. As we're starting out, everybody's hungry to get better, and they're just cohesive. And you've got to give, those 5 returners a lot of credit for just creating an environment to welcome everyone in, and then just they're hungry every day to get better. And so it's been a lot of fun, and it gives me a lot of hope. It makes me excited.
Oh, I love that. And this is for both of you. You can answer it one by one. But what excites you most about having the 5 returners just really embracing the culture and sharing that philosophy with the new players on the team?
Yeah, I think it's fun coming back with the experience we had last year, going to the Elite Eight, having that, culture built up, that championship culture back in our program has been huge, and bringing that to the new people who may not have experienced something like that yet is really special. Building up confidence in them.
Yeah, just being in an environment that we already know and helping the new people get comfortable in it, and really showing them the ropes, and also helping each other just continue what we did last year and continue improving.
Love that.
Yeah, Coach, I'll come back to you. Obviously, you said a lot of new faces, new conference. What kind of challenges has that presented for you, like early in the preseason?
I think it's similar. I don't think the conference has anything to do with it. I think it's just, this is our group. Who are we? A year ago, we had 7 returners, 6 new, but we had the Italy experience. We had a foreign tour. So we had already had a little bit of a mini camp, so we were ahead. This year, it's starting on time, a normal year. It's how quickly can we get to know everybody. And so my whole focus has been that. It's just, who are we? What are we great at? What do we need to get better at? But when the culture's in place, those things just tend to happen. So how fast can we go?
Mm-hmm. And who do you want the team to be as you're progressing?
Us. Typically Oregon State team. We need to be a great defensive team. We just need to be the best team we can be. And so for me, it's creating the environment and leaning on veteran students and veteran players like these next to me and the others to create it so that we can grow. That's the whole thing, and that's in place. So now, I just think we just need to be, what we've always been, and that's just a tough, competitive, defensive-oriented team that has great spacing all the time and is completely unselfish. And if those things happen, we'll be a tough out every night.
And I'll come with players. Start with you, Kelsey, and go to AJ. What have you guys been focused on the most over the offseason in terms of your personal development and maybe like even trying to add anything to your bag?
Yeah, for me, it was just all the little things, making sure I was getting stronger and making sure the body was good and ready to go for the full entire season. And then a lot of last year, the other bigs I was playing with, they had these really nice right shoulder fades, and that was something before I came to Oregon State that I'd really invested in. So really getting that into it in the off season, really working hard on that mid-range game, playing out the post and finding what I was good at was what else was.
And for me, I was in recovery most of the off season after ankle surgery. So just finding ways to be a leader with my voice off the court is the biggest thing that's helped me.
And how do you think that is going to help expound you as a leader, because you saw it from a different perspective during your healing process?
I think in the past, I've always been like a lead by example. So just watch me do this. But I think with all these new people, having to use my voice is super important. So, connecting with them on a different level of things is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Coach, how have you kind of seen the developments with the players who like these two and the rest that you mentioned that are coming back? What have you seen from them so far, in practice?
Yeah, everybody's stepping up. I think everybody understands their opportunity. With the transition in the roster, everybody's roles are bigger, different, which is natural anyway. And so I've just loved the progress that I've seen. I mean, what Kelsey just mentioned, I mean, just her efficiencies offensively, how she's expanded her game, and just to see the confidence grow in her has been just a joy for me. And that's what this is. This is teaching and, watching your students grow. And that's nothing is more fun for me than that. And that's what I'm seeing every day. And that leadership that she's exhibiting by being courageous like that is so important. And then AJ just being just a pillar of strength, through the adversity that she had handled this offseason. It's so hard to be out, especially when you want to be in and you want to be improving on your game, but staying so engaged, and we're running drills and we're doing different things and she's on the sideline, she's not checked out, she's just being such a big part of things. And now she's back 100%. And, it's just like seamless. She was so ready. And so what a great example that is. And she brings that spirit to our team every day, and then in Sela and Sue and Kennedy, the three returners that are back home, just massive steps in growth and understanding of their roles and just the courage to step into them. You can shy away from it or step into it. And all five of them have stepped into it. And that's exactly what we need from each of them. And it just sets the tone and builds the foundation for everybody else just to follow along.
Oh my goodness, the joy is palpable, number one. I feel it over here, but the exponential growth of that joy for women's basketball in general, like across the boards, whether it's high school basketball, college, or in the WNBA, what have you seen from the explosion of respect? And there have been packed gyms prior to this past year, okay? So let's not get lost in that, but there is a different spirit of joy that the public is now discovering with women's basketball.
Thank you for saying that, because it has been, anywhere a community has paid attention.
Yes.
We've already been there.
Yes.
Now everybody's paying attention.
Exactly.
And so this is my 29th year as a head coach now of college women. And so I've been able to see it for a long time. And so 14 years of Division III with where we were a top 10 team in attendance every year. We were drawing incredible crowds back then, for what we were, relatively speaking. And now at Oregon State, we had our first ever sellout in 2017, and we're supported so incredibly well. And it's just a joy for me being an alum, my school and our community. But now everybody knows. I can't go anywhere without somebody saying Caitlin Clark, of course, right? I mean, we all know it. And so she's been the catalyst for everyone, just the general sports fan, and sometimes not even the sports fan, knowing, oh, women's basketball, that's fun to watch. I finally gave it a chance. We've been doing that forever. I've said forever, come to our games and be careful, you're going to get hooked. And that's been the case. People love women's basketball if they just give it a chance. Get over your ego, get over yourself, and just embrace it for what it is. It's great sport. It's great, incredible stories. And so finally, everybody's just more aware than they were, and no wonder. And so easy to see. We just needed our space in the limelight.
Absolutely.
Well, while we're talking about big time women's basketball, we're going to get you out of here on this one. We'll go down the line and start with you, Coach. WNBA Finals, Minnesota, New York. Who you got?
I just like the. It's hard.
Putting you on the spot.
No, I do have an answer. The game wins. There you go.
Yep.
I love watching Minnesota play. I know people on the Liberty a little bit more, but I let's just take it to the limit, and overtime. And what is it? 5
games.
Let's just take it overtime in 5.
Yeah.
Buzzer beater, and whoever wins.
That's what I want.
You're good. What do you think?
Okay, I know you just want to hear this because you guys have some
It's
history,
okay.
but Stewie's one of my favorite players. So
I love Stewie. There is no animosity there. I love her.
Yeah, I gotta go with Minnesota. Alyssa Pilly's on that team. Teammates, and then I just love watching physically Austin play the post.
They're so fun to watch.
Oh,
I mean, they've won me over this year. The way that team plays, I love them. So I kind of I just love watching them.
Yeah. Good
absolutely.
hoops. Good hoops all the time, and good hoops in the West Coast Conference. And we were looking for you guys and watching and cheering you guys on as the year progresses.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll be right back. Oh, there we are. Hurry up. Are we there? We're in. And we're in. All right. And we're back here on the Her Hoop Stats Network. Christy Winter-Scott alongside Calvin Wetzel. We're here at the West Coast Conference Media Day. And we're here with LMU coach Erica Yu.
Yes.
And we're going to let the players introduce themselves. This is also media training for y'all. So go ahead and introduce yourself to people.
Okay, I'm Nadia Evans.
I'm Brandy Williams,
And what year?
grad.
And
This is my 4th year.
okay, and what are you studying? We're gonna get all into
Oh,
it.
we're the
Okay.
same thing.
Yeah, we're both doing our masters in educational studies.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Coach, I know that you are super excited. It's almost like a family reunion when you see all the coaches and all the players within the West Coast Conference in one spot. What most excites you about the upcoming season for your team?
I think the growing visibility of women's sports in general. Our conference has added some juggernauts, if you will, from the Pac-12, familiar with, but just great coaches, great players. As we continue to grow, the game grows, and that's the best thing for it.
Yeah, and coach, when you look at obviously on paper, the roster looks a lot different. When you look at this year's team, in terms of your style, strength, and weaknesses, things like that, how do you see it maybe comparing to last year's team?
Yeah, I think for us right now, you have two players sit next to me that 36% from the three-point line and 40. They're also proven winners coming off of 20-game winning previous schools, so they know what it takes. I think when you have that experience, you have that leadership, especially in a 1 and a 2 guard, it just trickles down. So I think for us, we have really solid guard leadership. We got a lot longer in the off season. Even though we have 4 babies, I think we're doing a great job in talking with, again, our lead guards, understanding what that mentorship looks like. So I think collectively we look a lot deeper. And I think we have some really strong leaders out on the floor for us.
And for both of you, what has it kind of been like for you so far, kind of preparing to step up and take up a new role this year?
For me, it's been so fun. I think like college basketball is like, I'm really like, I'm enjoying my last season. I'm seeing, people step into their first and second seasons, how much fun and joy they have. So I've just been really enjoying the joy that they have in the game. And it's been so fun.
Yeah, I agree with Nadia. It's kind of new coming in with a lot of freshmen. I think it's just nice seeing them like coming in as freshmen and knowing that like you came in as a freshman, so you get to like help them in that aspect and everything. But I enjoy it.
We both shoot the leather off the ball, number one. How will you, I guess, acclimate yourself into this team this year? You already know what you can do, but how do you fit into what the team needs from you to do?
I think Coach A sets us up really well, especially like in the offense. She gets us in the right position. She lets us know like this is where you should be to like shoot the ball and everything. So got it.
Yeah, so I would kind of go piggyback off a beat up right there. I would just say, Coach A sets us up nice, and I think we already getting chemistry, but everyone's working to get chemistry together. So doing that, playing together, we'll figure each other out.
Right. And stylistically speaking, we were talking offense, but on the defensive end.
Yeah.
When you're talking about stirring the pot, you got to get the ball to be able to shoot that ball. So what do you do on the defensive end in terms of your principles and core values on that side?
Yeah, I'm happy you asked. Right now, I think that's kind of a focal point for us as a defensive end. When you have a lot of changing pieces, we had some players that were ailing some injuries over the summer, so getting them back into the rotation helps out a ton. We're looking at some different coverages. Ball screens, as we know, are super prevalent in the game. Hardest thing to execute from a skill set, but also one of the toughest things to guard out on the floor. So kind of figuring out what do we do well. We're starting to see some of that, but at the end of the day, we're going to have high hands, active communication, feet, and we got to finish with the box out and rebound.
I love it, man. I'm fired up. Listen, Calvin, it's been hard for me to sit here. I feel all the great energy right here, right now.
Well, you're talking about how tough the conference is, but you guys open against UNLV. You did last year as well. It's obviously you have some tough matchups in the non-conference too. Like, how do you hope that portion of the season kind of prepares you going forward into a tough conference?
Yeah, I mean, Lindy does a phenomenal job in the West Coast Conference. She and I are familiar, her being a Stanford Cardinal, me being a USC Trojan. So she does great things with her program. We're looking to go in and make it a tough game. I want to test our team as early as possible. I think when you're looking at a non-conference, and especially the timing at which we found out the realignments, it was interesting trying to piece together something that was going to make sense for 10 new players. So we have some tough games pretty early on, but it'll test us and also gets their attention really quick. I think they came here to want to play the best. UNLV is one of the top, so we'll see what we can do on November 4th.
Well, pressure is most certainly a privilege, right? And that's how you learn, right? So what do you want to learn this season? And not just tactically speaking, not just basketball wise, but what do you want to learn about yourselves this year?
I do think I want to learn and grow in the aspect of leadership. I think that's a goal, obviously, that's been given to me. So I think I just want to grow and learn and grow in that aspect.
Yeah, really what Nadia said, just to learn and become a better leader, especially transferring from a different school, really in that aspect.
Right.
We're going to keep it a little bit light here and put you guys on the spot. I'll start with Brandy.
Oh, gosh.
Do you have a least favorite drill that coach runs?
At least no, I love all the drills.
That's the correct answer.
She's a vet, y'all.
Correct answer.
All the drills.
She's a vet. She's a vet. There we
All
go.
the drills. We love that.
All the drills.
Good girl. Yes. What about you? What do you think? You going to just double down?
I have to. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you
My
follow
favorite
that?
ones are all the defense.
All the defensive drills are the fave. See, we talk about media training. Yo,
Yeah.
A plus, smart.
High IQ.
That's right. What's your most favorite drill, coach, to put your team through to show their character? And I know when I used to coach, I used to run drills to see who would lead,
Yeah.
right? And who, on the sprints, who would lead in that. So what are some of your favorite drills in that regard?
Man, right now, I think anything that we're doing with shell, right?
Oh,
Shell
the shell,
defense,
yeah.
when they see the guys step out on the floor, I think the coolest part in watching such a new group, and they talked about leadership, and they are humble.
Mhm.
I think they're also people that want to put a product out on the floor where their play is much louder than anything they can say
How
here.
about that?
But when you see they start to trust one another, you start to see intentional conversations happen out on the floor.
Yeah.
So the second that we can do anything competitive, whether it's, for us, our practice jerseys are white and black, whether it's against themselves or it's against the guys, you don't ever see that dip. You don't ever see they're more excited to play one or the other. It's basketball. They're playing together. They're learning. So for me right now, anything defensive, anytime we're getting up and down and they know there's a score and there's a cost at the end of it, I'm excited to watch.
I love that.
Well, and have you guys talked about any goals with the team, whether it's something tangible, wins and losses, statistical type of goals, or just more intangible goals in terms of working hard and things like that?
Yeah, I think they as a team, I think they have kind of figured out what it is that they want to accomplish this year. We really wanted to take approach this season on really focusing on habits. We talk about winning, right? Winning is important, but that's not the focal point. It's your habits every single day. If you know you have winning habits, the product's going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
So for us, our goal is to stack days. That's what we're looking for right now.
I love that.
I love that. Well, I just got one more for all three of you. I'll start with you, Coach.
Yeah.
WNBA Finals, Minnesota, New York. Who you got?
I have to go with New York.
All right.
New York.
All right.
I'm going with the Lynx. Lisa Collier's from Missouri, so I got a rep.
You love it, Jefferson City.
Go.
Hometown.
breaking the
I'm going
tie.
with Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay.
got her hooked
Got
in.
it.
Well, you guys are butted, hooked in, ready for the WNBA finals tonight, but most importantly, ready for another great season for you, Coach. Thank you, Erica, for your time. Thank you, young ladies.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Her Hoop Stats Network's coverage of the West Coast Conference Media Days. I'm Christy Winter-Scott with you. Alongside Calvin Wetzel, we're joined now with the Gonzaga women's basketball program, starting with head coach Lisa Fortier and a couple of her players who I'm going to let introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Miles Hybens. I'm Ivani Jim.
Oh, wonderful to have you join us for a quick conversation here. And Coach, we're going to start with first things first, right? It has been a health situation for you to start this season, but I know being around your team gives you immeasurable joy. So we just want to touch base with you on that before we do anything basketball.
Yeah, they were kind of with me at the start since it all began last season. And then they're with me now as I start back finishing up my treatment, starting back to this season. And I think that you're right. We've gone through a lot of treatment. I've had radiation and chemo and surgery and all this stuff. But my team is such a bright spot for me. I love being able to see them every day that I'm able to. Now I get to see them every day, it seems like. But they've been really supportive of me, and I think that they show us such great examples of strength all the time. And so it's been fun to be able to show them that example. And I hope that I'm supportive of them, and to see how them be supporting me. It's kind of a little bit of a role reversal, and it's just been really, really great to be able to do this kind of with them, kind of putting their arms around me.
Oh, I love that so much. You have no idea. It's going to take me. But for both of you, what does that mean to hear that from your coach, that you are the suppliers of that beautiful joy of team?
It's definitely rewarding to know that we're able and capable to do that for her. I think it brings me joy, and it brings us a lot of joy to see her continuing to do what she loves, and with her passion and with her strength. And from the start, we wanted her to lean on us whenever she had a tough day. So knowing that we were able to do that and able to provide for her in that sense, I think it just brings us a lot of pride to know that we were that kind of rock for her throughout her journey.
Yeah, I think from the start it was clear that it's not a one-way street. She doesn't only have to care for us, we're there for her as well whenever she needs it. And I think now it was clear that she really needed us to be on. So I'm glad we were able to show up for sure. It's like that.
Beyond beautiful. Beyond beautiful. Yeah, very beautiful.
Absolutely. And Coach, I wanted to ask you, and I'll ask Vaughn about this too. We all saw that video last year with the two of you who won the Becky Hammond Major Player of the Year, Kathy Delaney Smith Mid-Major Coach of the Year, and neither one knew the other one was presenting the other one with that award, and that was such a cool moment. How special was that for you to kind of share that award in that moment with her?
It's very humbling to get awards like that. I think coaches are as good as their players only. We all try our best, but the success that we had as a team is really what that award was about. And so I thought Vaughn was clearly deserving of it. I thought that if she didn't get the award, it would have been crazy. So it was a fun day, because I just was very much not expecting that. Hopefully she was expecting it. She should have been if she wasn't, for herself at least. But so it was masterful. Whoever thought of that idea, I think it was a good idea. It probably doesn't happen all the time, just like that. So it was very fun, a huge honor, and anything I can share with Bonnie is pretty special.
Yeah, what was that moment like for you?
I feel like she took the words right out of my mouth. I think, and I said it a little bit when I was receiving that award, but really I was only put into that position because of the team I played on, and the development that I had throughout the year, being with this coaching staff, being in this program. So I think it's just a kudos to the work that I put in and the work that they've especially put into me and my game, and just me as a person. So I really attribute it to them, but definitely being able to share that with Coach Lisa was it was fun, because I had no idea, and I was like, oh, I can't wait. And the way they set it up, I was like, guys, this is kind of suspicious. So I hope this works out for me, because I don't want her to get any suspicions that it's coming. And she's like, you got it. I was like, wait, what? So even that, something very joyous that came from that moment. So really happy about it.
No, I love that. And when you're talking about all of this joy and all of these things on the outside of the tactical and stylistic aspects of the game, let's take it inside of the tactical side of things. And what do you want from your team this year in terms of the success points and maybe the three aspects of the game that your team needs to do well to sustain their excellence?
Well, I don't know if this counts, but I think one of the biggest things that we can do is we can just get better every day. I think that our team, we have an interesting mix of very veteran returners, and then some veterans who are new, and then also some very new, very raw, right out of high school kind of players. And so I think that it's just going to take some time for us to get to know each other, get to understand each other better on the court. So that's a huge thing for me, is that we say stack practices. So stack some practices together and continue to improve. Hopefully all the way till the end. We want to be our very best on our very last game, whenever that is. We need a rebound. And that's a big growth area for us right now. We're spending a lot of time focusing on that. I think that would be a huge thing for us, to just become more physical and rebound the ball well. And then I would say transition. I think that we could be really good if we would transition or just push the pace of the offense. And that'll get us into open looks. That'll draw help. That'll do a lot of things for us, open the game up for us, so we can transition well.
Right. And competing in this West Coast Conference, and this is for all three of you, just to have your take on it. What is that like, right? And what are you anticipating this season with all of the changes and all of the new teams in, other teams out? Like, what do you feel that will feel like for your team?
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. I mean, it's nice that we play Washington State every year, but only once usually. You know what I mean? And so I think adding Oregon State, those are two very quality programs. I think that there's a lot of new players in our league. I think every conference has a bunch of new players right now because of the transfer portal and the way things are. So I think that's there's an air of excitement about it, while still being, nerve-wracking. I think it's high level. I think it's improved adding those teams to it. But for us, I think the biggest thing that we say is just take one day at a time and one opponent at a time. And that's not changed. That's the same. So a little bit, kind of like our team, there's a little bit of steady, like reliable. You have to just go one day at a time. And there's also a little bit of new and exciting. And let's see, what the season brings. So that's my take on it. I don't know what you guys think as players.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fun to see some new faces, probably, like some new people in the conference. Obviously, playing 2 more conference games before. So, yeah, I think it's exciting, especially for like our last year. It's a nice switch up to have something different and make it memorable.
Right.
Yeah. I definitely think it's going to be exciting. I think, if anything, what we at least maintain here in the WCC is that competition and that level of wanting to win every single game, no matter what team you're playing, who you are, what happened the last game, what's going to happen the next game. I think that will always stay the same. And I think that's the piece that makes it exciting about being able to play in this conference.
And offensively, you're talking about, stacking practices, but what about, on the offensive end, stacking possessions? If you had to stack possessions to get great shots and great opportunities, what would that come from?
I mean, a lot of that is sitting right next to me. These guys here are our most proven offensive players. They have the most experience with that. They're very capable. They draw a lot of attention. And so I think that both of these guys, as well as the rest of our team, has worked hard to diversify their game a little bit this summer. So what you're used to seeing maybe from Vaughn or from Mout is, they've expanded. Okay. So, but I think these guys are just capable of putting the ball in the basket in a lot of different ways. I think we're at our best when we're sharing the ball. Our most exciting plays are the ones where it goes in, it goes out, it gets moved. There's a one more, someone punches, and then the shot that everybody expects to go in. And so I think that can come from anybody. So if we're talking more about that part, like what it looks like,
that's
it looks like,
I know y'all can score. So I was not being disrespectful. I saw you look over there like, I think I can shoot it. I know you can shoot it, but like stylistically and tactically, how do you organize them to get them to the spots to get shots? I know you can shoot it.
And for us, it's inside out attack and sharing the ball and making defense move and help and then finding the open player. So, that it oftentimes ends up with one of these guys as either the passer or the recipient of that. But our team has a lot of weapons this year that we're excited to help, showcase.
Yeah, no doubt. And how freeing is that for both of you to know that you're going to be set up to utilize your skill set to the fullest?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely very
amazing because it just makes us like very dependable on our other teammates. It's not something that like is ever a burden. Like when we come to like a team like this, or whenever we get new players, or like our team looks different, like we can always rely on each other
Absolutely.
to like make the best of any like possession, any game, any situation. So having that, it's big weight off our shoulders, but I think it makes us play with a lot more joy and like energy in our game as well, which is also part of our identity too.
Right. Thanks. You can
Yeah,
tag that
she got it stick to my mouth.
All those
So,
things.
yeah.
No, I love it.
Yeah, Coach. Well, obviously you had some really good players move on in terms of like Brenna Maxwell, Trongs, Yvonne is back, some other players. But what does that look like in practice with kind of so many minutes now up for grabs and the different maybe new rotation that it's going to look like?
Yeah, I think they're competing, but I think they're also thinking a lot.
Yeah.
We have a lot of players who don't have a direct person to look to show them what to do. Because 7 new players on our team this year, a variety of freshmen and transfers. But in the past, we've typically had like a senior point guard to go with a freshman point guard, and then you just look to them. And Peyton looked at the Trongs, and the Trongs looked at Jesse, and Jesse looked at Laura, and so on and so forth for a long time. So I think there's a lot of looking at us and a lot of opportunity for us to coach and teach. And they're looking to our veterans. The 3 we have here this weekend or today are very veteran. So they're giving some guidance, but really it's a lot of, what do you want me to do, coach? And a lot of eager, last year they would talk to us about what they thought we should do different or how this was working. They had a lot more comfortability with this and a lot more experience. This year, there's less of that and more just tell me what to do and I'm going to go try and do it, which is fun, but different than we've had for quite a few years, actually.
I love the beauty of that, right? And you want to give them all of the information that they need to be successful.
We're trying.
As a
Yeah, we're
coach.
trying.
Oh, that's great. But then for them to know that they need that guidance is also refreshing. Because that's not always the case.
No.
So I like to hear that. But what I also like to hear is the continued growth of women's basketball as a whole. Like regardless of the level, whether it's high school, on the collegiate level, or in the WNBA, what has been your sense of that and the groundswell of the respect that the women's game has most recently garnered? It's always been there, but now there's a wider scale of it.
Yeah, I think it's really fun time to be a part of women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I've enjoyed it for my whole life. But I think that there's been times where it's felt more like you're grinding and you're trying to pull it out of people.
Right.
And I think right now it doesn't. I think there's plenty of people out there. The market is flush with good players who are fun to watch and exciting. And so I just think that it's a great time to be a women's basketball player all the way down to my daughter's age up until the WNBA.
Got you. WNBA finals, real quick, hot stove. Like who's going to win it?
We got
Liberty.
The Lynx.
She bent in and said it. Who did you have? Liberty. Okay, 2 Liberties and a
Let's
Lynx.
go, Courtney Vandersloot.
Let's
Snooty.
go, Bridget Carlson.
Oh, DC, everybody. That's why we love it. We love you guys for stopping by. Thank you so
you guys.
much. Gonzaga, women's basketball. Be on the lookout for them. Thank you. We're going to pop in live here. Hello, welcome back to the Her Hoop Stats Network's coverage of the West Coast Conference Media Days. I'm Christy Winter-Scott alongside Calvin Wetzel, and we're here right now with Washington State head coach Cammie Etheridge, and we'll let the players introduce themselves because it's kind of media training, as we've told all the other players who have come over here to join us as well.
Hi, I'm Tara Wallach. I'm Astera Johina, or 18.
Okay, and what year are you?
Oh,
And
yes.
tell the people, yeah.
I'm a senior. I'm a junior.
Beautiful. See, I'm a mom of 3, so I'm just like, tell the people everything. No, I love it.
They're shy right now. I have no idea. Give them a mic and karaoke song, and they'll go wild.
TikTok, turn on TikTok. No, I'm just joking. But Coach, just really honored to be sitting next to you right now because of your past history in the game. So I just want to give you your flowers off the top. Just say that I respect everything that you are continuing to do in the game. So thank you.
Thank you
for that.
It's been good to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you love the game. It exudes through you and the players still to this day. And I love to see that. And I also love to see everyone in the same spot as you're getting ready to start the season in the WCC. And what are you anticipating from your team, from what you've seen in practice so far? I know a lot of teams and coaches have core values. What would you say your 3 top core values for your team this season would be?
Well, obviously, we come in having lost a tremendous amount of leadership and people that have put the ball in the basket and done things before. And now we replace them with a lot of youth. So, what I'm depending on or is this senior next to me in Tara. And, senior leadership brings urgency to the day, to the court, to the practice. And she has one more chance at this. So, she is guiding this group to just bring great energy every single day. To our standard is high. We want to be great. We want to compete for championships. And I'm going to count on these 2 to bring that every single day in practice. And that'll give us a chance to be, I think it's a really good chance to be really good.
Right. And this is for both of you. What does that responsibility feel like in your new roles this year for the team in terms of being those leaders that coach is looking for?
I mean, it's huge. It's a really important thing for our team, and leadership is really important thing in order to succeed. That's what we need, and especially as you mentioned, after losing a couple of voices, it'll be hard to replace them. But I think we're trying our best to get the new people to work and let them know that they can trust us, and if they need anything, that we'll be there for them.
I like AT said, it's a huge responsibility, you could say. You could also say pressure, but I think AT and I kind of work well under pressure. And I mean, the incoming players are probably the hardest working players, freshmen, you could say, and they want to win. And I mean, being the only senior, my last chance, I want to win. I want to go as far as we can into March Madness. So I mean, everyone kind of has the same mindset of we're here to win. And I mean, entering this new conference is exciting, and no one really has experienced it before. So I think the whole team is excited and just looking forward to what we can do with the WCC.
Yeah.
And Coach, obviously, next month the lights will be on, fans will be there, and you'll be on TV and everything. But when over the off season, when no one's kind of watching, how important is that leadership from them in terms of with the newcomers, establishing the culture, with the returners, making sure everyone's putting in the work over the off season, getting better?
Right. I mean, our summers are huge for our program. AT wasn't here this summer because she was on national team things. Tara committed to being in our gym this summer. So, and we had a lot of the freshmen there. So leadership has been just spot on all summer. We've never had, again, the freshmen that we have coming in are passionate about the game. They're just hoopers. They want to be in the gym. That's why they came to our school. They want to compete at the highest level. And I think learning from these guys every single day as to following them, as they know what it takes. They know how hard you have to work at it, how consistent you have to be. So, again, our preseason, our summer and our preseason has really set us up to just, our standards not going to lower any. We think we're going to be really good. We think we can compete, and we're going to shoot for it.
Speaking of shooting, do you ever this one? I don't know. Do you ever share with them like what kind of player you were?
I didn't shoot it much, that's for sure.
Okay.
But, No, and thankfully there's not much tape out there for
Too
them
bad.
yeah. I mean, they kind of get my personality every day, so they probably know I was probably a little bossy point guard out there. That's where she gets it too. So
I love that.
she's got enough boss in her to take over. So yeah, they thankfully no, they don't need to know much about it.
Oh, see, and I didn't even think about you being a shooter or not a shooter. You were a hooper.
Yeah.
You competed.
Yeah.
And for me, I remember
Yeah.
watching, but I don't remember every specifics. Like it wasn't 30 a game. It didn't have to be.
Right.
But your impact was amazing. So
Yeah.
I know as a coach, it shines through. And what do you feel in terms of the energy in that regard that coach represents and provides for you guys that way?
Well, I've seen a couple clips online.
There
you go.
It was just fun videos. So
Yes.
like you can just see the fun in her eyes, and every day in practice, it's a battle, and like she's not gonna let us kind of like go through things, flow through things without effort. And I mean, there needs to be energy in the gym to succeed. And I mean, we have an exhibition coming up on Sunday. I think it's just a great way to show how we're gonna be looking forward to the season, how everyone's just so passionate. It's exciting.
So what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think you can just tell the passion that she has, and just the way she explains or let us know how to get better at something. Just you can tell she has gone through that.
Yep.
And I think it's really important when you have experienced something, you know how to explain it in a better way.
Yes.
All right, so this is for both of you. I'm gonna shift gears a little bit, put you on the spot. I'll start with you, Terrace. Do you have a least favorite drill that coach does?
Oh, do I?
Here we go.
I'm probably full court shooting.
We love that drill.
See, that's what everybody else is like. We love all the drills. That's what we've got. That's what you were being very. She's giving me the eye. Like we're gonna do that for a long. We're gonna do that for all of practice. Well, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's it outside of what you guys are going to do this year. But just in terms of what you've seen from the game of women's basketball, from the time when you were playing to now. And I know, there've been packed gyms. There were packed gyms. We were playing, right? But now there just seems to be a different level of energy around the game that's surrounding the game at all levels, high school, college, and WNBA. What does that feel like for you to see that right now in a different light?
Isn't it interesting just to go back over the history of of the game, and there were just steps that had to be taken for it to grow.
Right.
And had none of those steps happened, from the trailblazers that drove vans to games and washed the uniforms and things like that these guys don't understand at all, and didn't get paid to play and didn't get the gym, all those things that they did it, and then that benefited us. And then obviously Title IX came around, and that benefited us. And had that not happened, we wouldn't be here. And then you fast forward, Sedona taking that little photo of the plate. I mean, that took during COVID, that just took it to another level. And obviously the Caitlin Clark phenomenon and the WNBA success and so many colleges, selling out and supporting it and putting money into it is just, it's showing the way. It's showing what can be done in women's athletics if you support it, if you put money into it, if you don't hold it back. And clearly we have some unbelievable players leading the way and just proving that, it's a respectable game, and they deserve to be respected. And thankfully we have that, and now these guys have big shoes to fill, and they got to keep carrying it forward.
Yeah, the opportunity is right there, and you're in the thick of it. What does that feel like for you to be kind of a torchbearer for the next group of players who are watching you and want to be in your shoes?
I feel like, as Coachy said, a new door has been opened for us, and I think we should take good advantage of this opportunity and just moving forward, just know like how people in the past didn't have this opportunity and it has been way harder for them, and now we just have to use those things and just get better at it and keep improving.
Yeah, I mean, during this new conference, we don't really know what to expect because it's new, but it's also a new opportunity to play new teams and experience new things. And with all the newcomers. I mean, they don't know what to expect. As confused as they can be as being freshmen, but I think it's this exciting time to join this conference, and I think it's just exactly where we need to be right now with the team.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, just the last question we want to get you out of here on, following up on Christy asking about, women's basketball kind of exploding. WNBA finals is popping right now. We're going to go down the line real quick, starting with Coach. Who you got, Minnesota or New York?
It's funny. I like Minnesota's probably my favorite team, but I'm kind of pulling for the Liberty just because they haven't won. So I like the finals.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm saying the same, Liberty. Yeah.
Okay.
I disagree.
All right.
Legs. Yep.
The links. I love it. Okay. A lot of different answers we've gotten all day today, but ultimately the game wins. And you guys, we're going to have our eyes on you and hoping for a great season for you and the team, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank you, guys.
you.
Everything you do.
Thank
Go
you.
Cougs. Go.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Her Hoop Stats coverage of the West Coast Conference Media Days. I'm Christy Winter-Scott with you, joined as always by Calvin Wetzel. We're here with the Santa Clara University women's basketball team. Michael Floyd is the head coach, so welcome, coach. We're going to let the young ladies introduce themselves. This is also media training, as I've comically, so I say, said to everyone who's come over here. So you guys introduce yourselves.
I'm Olivia Paulette.
And I'm Maddie Narrow.
And your classifications, what year are you?
I'm a senior.
And a sophomore.
Senior and sophomore, we love it. And coach, I know it's been great to be back in the building around your colleagues and your first year moving into the official role of head coach. And what has that felt like for you? And I know you had the interim title on, so in a way you've had some reps, but now with that interim title taken away, what have you felt like now as everything has been made official for you?
Yes, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind, but it's gradually starting to slow down as we get ready for the season. The ladies are doing a good job talking about our program and what we represent, and look forward to getting to the season.
And what is that your program represents, or what you want the culture to be this season in particular?
Yeah, I like it to continue to be what it's been in the past with our now former head coach, Bill Carr, looking out for each other, concerned about academics, and then they just happen to play basketball too.
I love that.
When you talk about, Coach Carr, last year you guys win 23 games, which was the most in quite a while for this program. How do you continue and kind of build off of that success going into this year?
Yeah, well, it starts with our attorneys, with these two right here and the rest of our roster, the leadership that we have with them, just trying to get to that same point that we were last year and getting there during the course of the season.
Right. And this is for you all. Being a senior and a sophomore, you understand what winning means and how to achieve that. For this year, the challenge is always to maintain that level of excellence and then grow it. What is it going to take to grow that level of understanding how to execute in a winning way?
Yeah, look, I think me and Maddie were both a part of the team and the culture last year when we were successful. And I think bringing that knowledge into this year and the values that we had from last year, like a lot of hard work, commitment, and just grit at the end of the day were things that I think were a big thing for us last year. So installing that in new girls and into our team is something that's been really important, and that's something that will hopefully bring us success.
Yeah, kind of like what Liv already said, just consistency, and being consistent with each other, keeping each other accountable. And I think just staying together as a team, relying on your teammates is really important.
And stylistically, coach, what does that look like for you? Like if you had 3 core values that you must achieve for your team to succeed, and I know there's probably well more than 3, right? As a coach, there's a long litany of things, but if you had to choose the 3 most important aspects of what you want your team to look like and be on the court, tactically speaking, what would that be?
Yeah, the first thing would have to be defensively doing a good job of getting stops in the half court. And then the other side of the ball on the offense, doing a good job of sharing the ball, which we've been doing for years. And just being unselfish and being playmakers for each other.
Mm-hmm. And what would you guys say to that in terms of how he wants the team to look and how you're going to execute that as players?
Yeah, look, I think as a team, we have a lot of trust in our coaches. So anything they say, we really try to do it. And Floyd, everything he said is things that we've really been trying to work on in training, and you can see that we've progressed in those areas. So just continuing to work in those areas, keep improving them, and I think that'll bring us success.
Well, sorry, do you have an answer to that?
Are you going to add in? Yeah, you're good.
I
Yeah.
have another question for both of you, though. We can start with Olivia. What have you guys, from an individual standpoint and kind of your game, been working on and most focused on over the offseason?
Yeah, I think something that I really value about Santa Clara is in the off-season we work on the areas that I feel a bit more uncomfortable in, or something that I usually wouldn't expand my game to. So I've really been working to expand my game down the offensive end from beyond the 3-point line, and then just always continuing to grow my defense and versatility on that end while still getting the reps up and things I do good. So.
Yeah, I think for me, just being a freshman last year, it's just confidence, shooting the ball with confidence. And I know that my teammates trust me. And so just kind of having that confidence in myself now of just knowing that I put in the work. So hopefully this year I can just be a little bit more confident with myself.
Yeah. And that starts on the inside, and that starts with the work ethic you were just speaking of. So it's definitely going to happen for you for sure. And coach, just overarching with the WCC and the competitive nature of the conference, number one, but then now with the addition of some teams, subtraction of some teams, like just a lot of moving parts. What do you say about what the WCC represents and what it feels like from the inside to compete in that environment?
Yeah, I think the conference is, before the changes, is already a high-level basketball conference. With the changes, it's even more of a higher level of competition. I think there's going to be a top 10 league that's been the last few years, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. And obviously, we want to get our reps in with non-conference play so we can build up to being the best we can be when we do get to the conference.
For sure.
And Coach, have you guys talked to goals at all, whether it's wins and losses or something tangible, statistical goals, or more like intangible, just work ethic, any type of goals?
Yeah, everybody's talking about stacking days. Obviously we want to continue to do that with practice, especially before we get into the season. But ultimately, we just want to be the best we can be at the end of the season and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about, the women's game as a whole, and the more eyes that have been on the game as of late, not that there weren't any eyes. People think it went from being two people in the gym, mom and dad over there, and that's it, to, millions of people watching. I think there have been people in the gyms over the years, but I think there's a different eye on the women's game, whether it be on the high school level, the collegiate level, or obviously in the WNBA. But what have you seen from the women's game that has brought more attention to how the game is played?
Yeah, I think right now this women's basketball is, one of the sports that everybody wants to watch right now. Everybody wants to go to and we're lucky that we're all involved with it. We as a coach and as players, and obviously we want to continue to grow that.
Mm-hmm. And what do you guys feel like? I mean, you're the torchbearers for the young people, boys and girls, who are watching you, like elementary age kids that you were once. What does that feel like for you to have those little eyes upon you and the expectations that you have to carry that over the finish line for them?
Yeah, I think it's really cool, especially reflecting on when I was a girl playing basketball and I wasn't able to see role models on television or in the magazines or in the paper, things like that. I didn't have visual role models on or through the media, and being the age I am now and seeing little girls be able to watch girls play basketball, be able to watch me play basketball, and have role models and people they can see, I think that's really special, and it just shows how far it's come. And like you said, like women's basketball has always been good. It's just now getting valued by a larger audience.
Valued. Big word. And what's your take?
I think even last year, the tournament, like just watching it, I mean, just so many viewers, it made me kind of emotional sometimes, just like I'm a part of it. You know what I mean? I'm at the time of like where women's basketball is becoming, like Liv said, valued and respected. And so I just think it's really cool to like see that. And I mean, like the videos of little girls going up to Asia Wilson and stuff, like they're just so cute. And I just think that, it's really cool to be a part of.
Value. That's the word of the day.
Value.
The word of the day.
Absolutely. And we want to get you out of here on this question while we're talking about women's basketball being on national TV. There's a national televised game tonight, WNBA finals. So who you got, Coach? We'll go down the line. Let's go to New York.
I'm going to go with the Lynx.
Okay.
The Lynx. All right.
I'm going with the Lynx as well. Fingers crossed.
I want the Lynx, but I feel like the Liberty.
Okay.
Interesting take. I love that. The ripple effect. And we'll see what it looks like. Hopefully it goes 5, but at the end, we've been saying, hey, the game wins at the end of the day. So we love that. And you guys are winners for joining us today. And we're going to have our eyes on you as the season progresses. And good luck. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be back. Hey, welcome back to the Her Hoop Stats coverage of the West Coast Conference Media Days. I am Christy Winters-Scott, joined by Calvin Wetzel, and we have here the San Francisco women's basketball program representatives, the head coach, Molly Goodenbauer, and we're going to let the players introduce themselves because, as we've been saying all day, it's a little media training when you come over here, too. So you got to introduce yourselves and give your classification and your major if you want to. You don't have to do the major part, but name and your class for us. That would be great.
I'm Freya Worth. I'm majoring in sociology and I'm a senior.
Beautiful.
Hi, my name is Deborah Dos Santos, and I'm a grad student.
I love it. And Coach, I know, right on the precipice of yet another new season, and seeing everyone, I know, gets those wheels turning. You're shaking hands and smiling right now, but oh boy, a couple of weeks away from it all getting going and getting going for you and your team. What will that mean specifically, stylistically and off the court as well?
Well, I think this year brings a lot of changes for the conference, right? So I think you renew some old rivalries. Gonzaga was top of the pack. Everybody's trying to knock off Gonzaga, and they returned probably the best player in the league in Ejim. Pacific, Portland for us are two that we, Pacific knocked us out of the tournament last year. Portland is always a great rivalry. And then we add our new two teams, Washington State, Oregon State. So I think, just in a lot of ways, there's, again, the traditional powers that you have that you're always trying to fight against. And then we've got, two new really, really good basketball squads. So we're excited. I think, for us, we have everybody's returning on our roster, which we're really excited about. Our depth, our experience, and hopefully being able to stay healthy this year.
Yeah, and just sticking with you, Coach, really quickly, a lot of schools and coaches can't say that, that everyone has returned, right? And in the new age of the NIL and the transfer portal, what is it about the philosophy and culture that you've created that is, a magnet for people to stay?
I don't know. I think this year, this group, I'm really fortunate. We've got fantastic people in our program. It's probably one of the best things about our program, and it's just the kind of people that I get to meet with every day. And I really do, mean that everybody says that, but our players, they get along on and off the court. They are genuinely happy for one another's success. I think they have kind of grown in the program together, and they. From my perspective, and you can ask them that question too, but, I think they feel like they have some unfinished business. I think they feel like, this is a year where we are all healthy. We are, we've all been in the program. We know the expectations. We know what one another's strengths and weaknesses are. And I think they really, have kind of just a desire to see what they can do as a group, collectively.
Right. I guess we will pose that question to you all. What is it about the continuity that you all have been able to create with this culture here?
I feel like the coach said, we have a really good team that we got really well together. And I do think we have this unfinished business mindset because I feel like since last year we started not that good and we ended better. And I feel like that was we felt not good, and we want to start good and finish good. We want to have a much better year this year. So I guess that's what's really nice. Yeah.
No, building off that, we were very disappointed with how we ended the season. And I feel like we all knew that we had to change something. We came here earlier in the summer, started working out early. So we're really trying to figure out how to be better. We're ready to start doing so.
Yeah, and kind of following up on that, compared to maybe you guys' time here before, when you look at the last month or so with so many pieces back, like unfinished business, has the energy at practice been any different at all for you guys this year?
Practices are very competitive. I feel like one of our strengths this year is that we have a very wide roster. Everyone can have their 20 minutes each game. So we're very even. So practices are definitely competitive.
Yeah, I feel like because it's competitive, we're always trying to force each other. Because each person is competitive, it ends up forcing other person to be better every day. Try being consistent. which is the best thing you can do, like to build like a better season. So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously you said you have a lot of returners, but Coach, do you have any newcomers that you think are kind of hit the ground running or might make an immediate impact?
For sure. We have two players that came in to our roster. One true freshman from Greece, Angeliki. We call her Angie because that's a lot of syllables when you're running down the court to get out. The play's already gone past us. So Angie has come in, and she came right in off of her, youth national team in August and came into the program and has really made great strides. She's high basketball IQ, got a really nice touch, very good passer, sees the floor well. Just really good understanding of the game for somebody her age. So we're excited about her. I think she'll be able to be in our rotation and help us. And then we've got a transfer from Detroit, Emma, and she's from Spain. We have an international roster. Almost all our kids are international kids. So Emma comes in as she's really versatile. I mean, I don't know if you can really categorize her position. She can kind of play 2, 3, 4, maybe even a 5. Very athletic, quick to the rim, rebounds really well. She's a phenomenal person. I'll say it. I'm really lucky to have the kind of players that I have to be able to coach. They're really, really good people, and I think those two especially have really blended into the character of the group and the culture of the group, and I think they're going to add value.
Yeah. And with regards to value and the core values that you want your team to represent, again, not just on the court, but off the court. But I know there's probably a litany of things as a coach that you want to say that your team and program is all about. But if you had to boil it down to 3, what would be those 3 components of success that your team needs to represent day in and day out?
I certainly think toughness is at the top of the list. All these guys they're physically and mentally tough. And then that's something they continue to improve on as they get here and as they grow through the program. I think they have a tremendous work ethic. They work really, really hard. We demand that, but they also demand that of themselves. They hold each other to a high standard. And they're just high character. They're good people on and off the court. So I think probably those 3 things are what are the foundation of our culture of that.
Yeah, and obviously, you said you guys have a lot of returners. A lot of teams don't have as many, but are there any ways that you see your team maybe this year compared to last year looking differently, whether it's in terms of strengths and weaknesses, stylistically, anything like that?
No, sure. I mean, we do have a lot of returners, but we've got a lot of players, who have been injured, who are now coming back and so far healthy, who they've maybe been in the program. So they're technically returners, but maybe haven't been able to be on the court so much. So we've got a few people in that instance. So we are really, in a lot of ways, we'll be a different team, even though everyone's returning, because I think, as these guys alluded to, there's quite a bit of depth. We have the ability to play, 10 to 12 players really realistically, and they're all kind of fighting that out right now and figuring out what each other's role is going to be, which helps drive the person next to them to be better, be their best.
And speaking of being their best, the women's basketball right now is at its best on all levels, high school, college, and WNBA. But what have you seen in terms of the evolution of the game? I mean, there were people in the audiences and in the crowds years ago, but it seems to feel different. And when the crowds are full and spilling over today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's been a movement, and I really do, whether you like or dislike Caitlin Clark, I do think she's made a tremendously positive impact on women's basketball and women's athletics. Participation in women's basketball has gone up. Girls, we were losing a lot of kids to volleyball. They're coming back to basketball now, and a lot of that has to do with momentum that was generated by the interest that Caitlin Clark generates.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a good thing for all of us. I have neighbors who don't know anything about sports who know who Caitlin Clark is.
There you go.
Know and start to watch basketball, and it's just bringing in maybe a wider audience.
Yes.
And even the disagreements, whether you like her, whether you like Angel Reese, whether you like both of them or don't like either, people are talking about women's basketball. They're arguing. Men on TV are arguing about women's basketball. I mean,
how about that?
You know what? We won. Right?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
game
The
won.
men on sports networks are arguing about women's sports.
Yeah.
We won.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a dub. That's a dub, right? And what's your take of being in the thick of it for you two? I mean, you're torchbearers for the next generation of players who are leaving volleyball to come back to basketball, but they're watching you. And what does that feel like to have their little eyes upon you with that understanding of what that means for them?
I think like that it's awesome like to feel have that type of experience, you know. Like I mean you're kind of feel motivated to not only like keep playing but also be a better self, like, as an example for that type of people watching, you know. Of course like we as you were saying, like women's basketball before, it has been like tough sport to play because sometimes we don't have that much support as the men's basketball. And right now having all that type of visibility is like a really great experience and support like that we couldn't like imagine. Of course, like people are talking either bad or good, they are talking. So
There you go.
you know, it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. It's just a bunch of motivation. You feel like you can actually get somewhere when you play basketball now, which is super cool. So yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and all that interest in women's basketball is kind of culminating right now in the WNBA finals. So we want to get you guys out of here by putting you on the spot a little bit. Starting with you, Coach. Minnesota, New York, what you got?
I have liked Liberty for longer than I've liked Minnesota, but I like Minnesota this year. I hope the Lynx can do it.
All right.
I say Liberty.
I say Liberty too.
Oh boy, we've had a wide range of both, but
there's no
for any
consensus.
team yet.
no, there's no
There's always
consensus.
disagreement.
And it feels like we're kind of right down the
Like
middle.
you say, the game is winning.
Yeah, the game is winning. Period. Point blank. And that's it. Yeah, that's a win for us too to have this discussion with you all, and definitely have our eyes on you and the team this season, and wishing for great things for you
Thanks so
on
much.
and off the court. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
appreciate you guys. We'll be back. You can see us, but there we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Oh, there we go. You're in there. Yeah. She's back in the frame. We're good. All right. Live with you right here on the Her Hoops Stats Network, bringing you West Coast Conference Media Day action. I'm Christy Winter-Scott, joined by Calvin Wetzel. We are here with San Diego women's basketball head coach. We have Cindy Fisher here. We're going to let our student athletes introduce themselves, your name, your classification, and if you would like to add your major, you can do that. We're doing a little bit of media training as we're sitting here at the table.
Good job.
That's how we're doing it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Kylie Horsemeyer, senior in international relations major.
Courtney Riston, senior business admin major.
I love that. Student
Yes.
athletes,
Yes.
right? So that's why
100%.
we're here, right? And we're also here to share in the excitement of yet another new season for you and Cindy with another new season in the WCC, a couple new teams added to the mix. What are you anticipating for your program and the conference as a whole?
Well, I think the addition of Oregon State and Washington State has just, increased the credibility of the conference. And I think it's going to be very, very competitive this year. It's going to be, a dogfight every night, which it always has been in the WCC. But I think just the addition of those two teams also is just going to bring a lot more excitement, good fan bases on both ends. And, we're just looking forward to it. I think we have a super competitive team this year, a team that's really eager to get on the floor and get going, and just looking forward to a good start.
Right. And to be seniors, right, on this team and the leadership that you're going to be providing, and not just tactically speaking, but emotionally, right, for your team and the urgency that comes with being a senior and coach, all about what the difference of that is. But to have two new teams in the conference, everyone's thinking stylistically, oh, how do you have to change for these teams? But do you have to change at all? I mean, isn't it like they have to kind of change to what they're coming into more so? Or how do you see that dynamic developing as the season progresses?
I think we trust our coach. So we're gonna, trust Coach Fisher to put us out there. We're just gonna compete every single day. I think we know what we do best, and we're just gonna stick with that and continue to work every single game.
And I think we trust one another. I think that's a big thing, is that we trust each other. We know who we're going to get on a day-to-day basis. So.
Yeah, well, that means a lot. Trust is a huge word.
Trust is a huge word. One of our faves.
Yeah.
There you go. And Coach, coming back to you, we talked in a minute about kind of the roster, newcomers, returners, but when it comes to strengths, weaknesses, stylistically, things like that, are there any ways that you would kind of compare or contrast this year's team to last year's team?
I think very defensive oriented. I think we are going to be able to mix up our defenses a lot. Obviously, I hang my hat on that in the last 20 years of being one of the better defensive teams in the country. But I think we're going to be a really good defensive team, and I think we're going to be a really good rebounding team. I'm excited. We play fast. We're very transition oriented. We're getting the ball up and down quickly. And so, a lot of new faces, but, they're fitting into the mix really, really well right now and understanding what we want. But they play hard, and I think that's the one thing. You can't coach effort, right? You can't coach effort, and they put it out there every day. And these guys know we've had some, bruises and, hits on the floor, and a lot of people diving for loose balls. So just excited about how the intensity of the program is right now.
What does it feel like for you two to play in an environment like that, where you can just go for it and the tenacity can shine through with no apologies, but just all accountability on that end of the court, especially on defense?
I think I enjoy. That's one thing I love about the way that we play, and I think being a high schooler and committing to USC, I knew that was the way that coach likes to play, and I think it's fun to go out there and know that your teammates are going to give every single thing and leave it all on the court as we do. So.
Yeah.
I would say the same as her, is that just knowing that we're a defensive oriented team, and that's just what we hang our hat on, and that's what we're going to do every night, is play hard defense, play competitive, play tough, and so just know that our team can come back.
Yeah, and how have you guys been trying to sort of set the tone for that with the newcomers coming in?
Very vocal. We,
Very vocal.
we let them know what we coach has in store and what her expectations are and everything with that. So we're just trying to lead by example, honestly.
I would say lead by example.
Right. And with the conference, we're just going to stick with the overarching day-to-day competitiveness of the league,
right,
and what you have to bring to the court in those instances on a night-to-night basis?
Oh, you have to bring it every night. It doesn't matter who you're going up against, what the ranking is, where they are, in the mix during the conference season. It's every night. It's going to be a fight, and it's fun. I mean, that's why we do it. That's why this is one of the top conferences in the country for women's basketball, and we know that every night that we step on there, that if you're not rebounding well, if you're not on it defensively, if you're turning the ball over, you're going to have a long night. So we really preach those things. Make sure we're not fouling, making sure we're taking care of the ball, making sure we're getting second, third opportunities, and just the little things that are got to be there every night in our conference.
Yep.
And we talked a little bit about the newcomers, but kind of zooming in, who are some of the newcomers that you're looking to maybe have an immediate impact, or who have kind of just hit the ground running in practice so far?
Well, we have a lot of them. We have a lot, but I think some of our veteran new kids, transfers coming in. Ava Ranson has done a really good job. True Riley Paris has done an excellent job at the point guard spot, but honestly, everyone, we have a set of twins, Haley and Jaden Rhodes, that transferred from Morehead State. They're super competitive, really, really good athletes, can get up and down well for us. So, I'm just excited about all of them, but I think we do have a lot of new faces, and a lot of new faces that are going to give us a lot.
I coached a team with twins, and it took me almost the whole year to tell them apart. How are you doing with that?
Well, I'm fortunate that they're not identical.
Oh,
because, I coached 3 sets of identical, and it's still not okay. My son plays on a team that has a set of twins, and I still don't know them apart. It's been 4 years, so I don't know if it'll ever get better.
No, it was bad. I had to tell them to wear different hair ties or whatever. I was like, you wear the red hair tie, so I can tell you, because I keep calling you each
Isn't
other.
it amazing?
Yeah,
I know,
it's
it's
different.
amazing.
So at least they're not identical.
Yeah, they're not identical.
That's
not
a
at
good
all.
thing.
Yeah, well, keeping it light. I'm going to put the players on the spot here real quick. Do you guys have a least favorite drill that coach runs?
Build-ups.
Oh, what is
A lot of
that?
agreement on
What does that entail?
It's like where we start. Well, point guard starts with it. They go one-on-one, full court, and then Ma likes to put the fours in with them for the next. So you just add on. You keep adding.
So it's like 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5 until it's all the way down.
I remember that. Oh gosh, those little hairs in the back of my neck just stood up. I remember those days, like the one-on-one. Wait, 4 turns. Are there rules on it?
Yeah.
Turn 4 times.
You have to stay behind the ball.
Okay.
It's all about like
pass it up.
It's all learning about help and recover and, in the full court. But funny thing, I just know the minute I say build ups, everyone's like,
oh, like, oh gosh. Oh, boy.
I'm waiting for the day someone's like, yes, build up.
But when they do that, when they do that is after wins.
Yeah.
Build up. Build up. That's what I say after a win. Like those build ups. Pay it off.
That's right. It paid off. Exactly.
I love it. And what's paying off also is the experience of women's basketball and being in that right now. And I want to ask for your perspectives, all 3 of you, because it's coming from different places, right? With your 20th season coaching, right? You've seen the evolution of what this game has meant to you, but to everyone involved. Now, the crowds weren't as big, but there were crowds, ahead of like yesterday. So let's be clear on that. But at the same time, there's a different level of eyeballs on women's basketball right now, and just assess what that means for you and what you've seen over the course of your coaching career.
Well, yeah, this is my 35th year, and just the evolution of the game in general, and just the opportunities for young women now, and having the opportunities to have endorsements, to have NIL, to be in front of crowds of 15, 20,000, and just to have the respect, honestly. I mean, there were years that it was tolerated, and now there's a respect, and there's an acceptance, and there's like, hey, this is for real. I'm at fundraisers, and all the men at the table are talking about, college basketball. Hey, watch this game the other night, that game the other night. And that just fills up my heart, right? I mean, because I remember when it wasn't that way. So it's just a beautiful thing that's happening in women's sports and women's basketball in general.
And to have the little eyes upon you, watching you, right? And you were once those little eyes. And what does that feel like for that role to be reversed, and to know that you are the torchbearers for these youngsters?
Yeah, it's awesome. We have so many little kids that come up to our games and just like are so ecstatic to be there, and they're just like, oh, we love watching you play, and it's just like so refreshing and so like nice to see that there are still people that like women's basketball, and now more people are starting to love it, and I just
it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would second that. I think it's just incredible to see the growth, even over the past 4 years at USD, and just seeing how like viewership has increased, and just like now, people on campus are like, oh wait, you play for the women's basketball team, where it was like you're just another student athlete. So
Oh man.
yeah.
And your 20th year at San Diego. I
Right,
know 35 years
right,
overall,
right,
but your
yeah.
20th season there, and assess what that has meant for you to be at the helm in your 20th season coming up this season.
Well, I'm so blessed, right? I mean, first and foremost, I'm just blessed that I've been able to be at one place for that long, and I've been able to have great leadership and great presidents and athletic directors who have believed in me and have, encouraged me to continue to just do what we're doing. And, the thing that I'm most proud of, obviously, is that they're great student athletes, and student first, athlete second. But just, when the alumni come back and having those groups, and, just that's what it's all about. But I just love it. I'm very blessed and very fortunate to be at USD.
Yeah, I work alongside Mike Tebow. He's the GM for the Mystics, and he always said, coaching, the tactical side of it is great, but the meshing of the personalities and understanding what that means is something that those players will call when they're on their deck in the summer, like, hey, coach, how you doing?
Right,
And
absolutely.
it's that personal feel. And I know with how the game has changed with the NILs and all the other things, the transfer portal and whatnot and all that, how have you dealt with the change of that aspect of recruiting when the transactional aspect and relationship has kind of changed what that feels like?
Well, it's very different. And, I think being someone who's been in it for a long time and is about relationships and building relationships and having people like Courtney and Kylie stay somewhere for 4 years and feeling that, that respect and that excitement about being at a school for that long, it is very hard now to not have that with all of your athletes when people are transferring out and new ones are coming in. It's just a different mindset. But, like I've said to a lot of older coaches and younger coaches, you either buy in or you buy out. You either have to accept that this is the new, or you have to, go on and do something different. So I think it's there's positives and negatives to both sides of it. But I think overall, it's good for the growth of the sport.
Yeah, well, I do have one question I want to get you guys out on, but I want to ask you something else first, Coach, before we get to that one. As someone who's coached for 20 plus years, what is something that you feel like maybe you've learned from when you were first starting coaching that has kind of helped shape the coach you are now?
Patience.
The third person to say that.
That's like the answer at the top of the list.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think also, when I started, I wasn't a parent. Now I'm a parent, and so I see it through different eyes now. I see it completely different than I saw it 15 years ago. And so I think that the world is changing. The athletes are different. Everything is different about it. So you either have to change with it and you have to develop. Like I'll have athletes come back and say, why are you so soft on him? Why, and I'm sure these guys don't feel like I'm soft, but they're like, man, you're so different. And it's like, well, it's a different world now. It's a different athlete. It's a different time. And I'm a parent and I understand it a little bit differently. So I think that's probably patience is number one, and just accepting change.
Yeah, I have 3 myself, so I concur.
Yeah,
it's absolutely that. It's absolutely motherhood that changes it.
Yeah, no, it does. You see it from a different light. Yeah, that's for sure.
So here's what we're going to get you out on. We haven't had anyone agree with all 3 people in this question yet.
Okay.
We were talking about the explosion of women's basketball. WNBA finals is obviously happening. Game 3 tonight. Minnesota, New York. Start with you, Coach, and go down the line. Who you got?
Well, I have to go with New York. Yeah, for sure.
New York as well.
New York.
Oh,
there it is.
About this before.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were just talking about it over there. We didn't know you were going to ask.
Okay.
I mean, I gotta, keep those Courtney Vandersloot, the WCC ties.
Right.
I gotta cheer for her. It's gonna be a fan of hers forever. So
I love it. Flutie.
Yeah,
Going with Flutie.
Sure.
All right, we're in Vegas, so pushing their chips to New York in
We
game
are.
3. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, I
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
Yeah,
that you spent with us
absolutely.
today, and all the
Thank
best of
you.
luck.
Yeah,
you,
thank
guys.
you.
Thank you guys so much. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. We are live here on the Her Hoop Stats Network, bringing you all the action live from Las Vegas for the WCC Media Day. I'm Christy Winters Scott, joined as always by my guy right here. Stop laughing at me. Oh my gosh.
You good?
No, I'm not. Say it. No, Calvin Wetzel. Okay, we're here. All right. I'm sorry, I just had a moment. I'm good.
All good.
We are here with the St. Mary's women's basketball team. Jeff Caven, you're here with us. You're the head coach for the program. We're going to let the student athletes introduce themselves.
Yes.
It's media training as well here, so we're just going on down the line. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kennedy Johnson. I'm a senior transfer.
Hi, I'm Z Alcuso, and I'm a sophomore.
I love it. And we bumped into each other earlier. You guys have such great personalities. It's so bubbly and great to see you all here. And Coach, you're going to dive right into it. I know you've seen a lot of your colleagues here this afternoon, and the season is right on the precipice of beginning.
It is.
Well, what excites you most about this opportunity for your team to compete this year?
Yeah, it's an amazing group. We had a chance to go to Italy this summer on a foreign tour, and we got a chance to get to know each other and get a lot better and start building that foundation and connectivity. And man, I love this group. You know, they're so much fun. They work hard, but just great personalities.
Right.
You know? So just excited to going into this year too to continue to build on the foundation of this culture and, you know, push this program where we want it to be.
Right. And going to Italy, this is for you guys. You can both take a turn at answering it. But when you went to Italy, first of all, what cities did you go to? And second of all, what was that like for the team to build camaraderie over those stretch of weeks?
Yeah, we went to Venice, Naples, Florence, Rome,
and Amalfi Coast.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Positano, or whatever that is.
Ostiano. Wow. Very nice.
Amalfi.
Amalfi Coast.
We
Beautiful.
went to Siena.
Oh,
right?
nice. Nice.
Yeah, we're in Tuscany area. We did.
All
We
of it. Ate all the pasta, you said? What did you say?
Yeah, we went across it.
Oh, all across Italy. I thought you said ate all the pasta. I did that too. We did that too.
Pizza and pizza.
Pizza and
gelato.
Gelato.
Yeah, it was good though. I felt like that was our first time really being able to see each other like off the court and kind of just every individual and who we are and get to know each other on a deeper level. It was really fun, and especially being in a different country and just experiencing new things together. I definitely created like fun memories with these girls that I'm looking forward to just carrying on for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, she touched on it. I think it was just good to like get to know every other girl and like their different personalities. But like in the end, like we just all get along with one another, and like exploring a new country was pretty cool too.
Yeah, for sure. And I know it's different. I mean, obviously you have your practice players in practice and everything, but when you go over there, you really probably don't have like a scouting report.
No.
They're not, hey, run this set for us or run this. So what was that like in terms of learning what your team's personality could become in Italy when you were over there?
Yeah, it's actually probably better that way. Maybe sometimes I think we overcoach, you know, to be able for them to be able to just go out and play and enjoy the game and enjoy competing without all the distraction, all the extra stuff.
Right.
It was cool to see them play for the love of the game. Yeah. I mean, we're able to go and work a clinic before one of our games, and they enjoyed it. They're just giving back and serving. So I think that was the great thing is we have young ladies that love the game, and not that we did in the past, but it's just great to see them compete, not compete for a WC right now and all that. It's just going on competing because we love to compete. We love the game. You know? Yeah. So I loved our camaraderie. I loved our athleticism, and, you know, our length, the versatility. Just saw so many different pieces, you know, and the potential of this team. You know? So yeah, it was really good to see.
Yeah, those foreign tours can obviously be, you know, really cool in so many ways. And obviously that's a big difference from last offseason. But going into year two, what are some other kind of differences that you've seen maybe offseason or in the preseason compared to, you know, when you were first starting in year one?
Yeah, it's, you know, year two is, you know, it's interesting, right? Because we have a newer roster, right? a large, turnover, but we also have a group who was with me last year, with us last year. So they know the standard, they know the culture and what we're trying to do. So it's a lot easier, right? Because they're kind of setting the tone in a locker room and when coaches aren't around. And Z has done a great job of that. Emily Foy was with us last year. So they took onus like, hey, this is, who we are. This is what we want to do. And we're going to set that tone ourselves. When it's the coaches leading, it's cool. But when your players are taking ownership and they're the ones driving the culture, that's what's important. And we're not where we want to be. It's just a lot of work to do. But it's a big difference in terms of that. Yeah, last year we had a great group. I inherited a great group, wonderful young ladies. But again, this is, a large, turnover. It's just a different team, So I think going from year 1 to year 2, the sophomores have a little more better idea of what's going on, and they're not, like a deer in headlights trying to figure things out. So it's great to see their leadership and them being able to kind of set the tone and set the table for even the transfers coming in. Even though like Kennedy, she has college experience. So she's bringing some experience, but it's not St. Mary's experience, women's basketball experience. So, so I would say to see that and the growth in our culture and what we're trying to do here has been really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and have you guys talked kind of goals at all, whether it's tangible, like wins and losses, or just like intangible type of stuff?
You know what? We're more process driven.
Yeah.
We have, I've right now we're trying to keep it process driven.
Yeah.
Obviously we want to compete at the top of the conference. We want to, go to the NCAA tournament. But there's a process to it, and I think for us being a defensive minded team, we do want to hold people, under 50 if we can. We do want to have 50 to 60 deflections a game because we want to play 94 feet, want to dictate. We want to turn you over 18 to 20, 21 times a game. So there's some stats in there that we want to do every night. But right now we're just trying to, just focus on the work, focus on the work, focus on continuing to grow each other, empower one another. Everything else will take care of itself. We'll get down to the brass tacks of what we need to do every night in order to actually, put ourselves in position to win. But we're so young right now.
Yeah.
We have 9 sophomores, man. We have 3 freshmen. I mean, we're super young, and sometimes you could throw too much at them, just from my experience. So just trying to simplify it, and let's just have a great practice, and let's stack days, and just stay on course, and everything else will take care of itself. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. And with regards to the leadership qualities and the culture that's developing and trying to be established in the right way, what have you felt like in those roles of being a leader for this team, and not just statistically, but emotionally and with the values of the program in mind? That's for both of you. That's for both of you, and either one can start.
Yeah. I think because, we haven't played games yet, and I'm still trying to figure out that leadership role myself. I've had conversations with Jeff, but I think not necessarily in terms of like actions, but like off the court things. And because I do have more experience and kind of just leading that like in practice, I feel like the little things, like talking in line, or like, I don't like, just little stuff that I can't really explain right now, but
for sure.
I think because like you have such a group of like younger players that sometimes it just comes naturally. Like I don't really have to think about being a leader, just because I feel like they do look up to me, and I know I'm kind of in that role, so it just flows within itself. But yeah, it's definitely something I try to be intentional about, because I know our team is younger, and I want them to embody and embrace leadership roles as well. Like I don't want there to be a hierarchy because I'm a senior. I should be the only one. Like we all embrace each other and listen to each other. So just kind of still establishing that feel.
Excellent. No, excellent answer.
Kind of going off Kennedy, I'm a returner, so like I know like Jeff's expectations are, as well as like expectations from one another. So like just making sure holding my teammates accountable, like meeting the standard every day, but also like out off the court, just making sure we're taking care of each other, like checking in on one another, making sure like our little freshies have like their
the freshies.
But like just making sure we take care of each other on and off the court, but like just meeting the standard every day, I would say.
Yeah, and the standards in women's basketball right, have been of excellence from day one, not just yesterday, right?
Let 'em know.
Absolutely. You know, I've been saying it all day in a lot of different ways, but the bottom line is the bottom line for me, right? All right. There were people in the crowds, you know, back in the day,
No doubt,
but
no
now more eyes on, right?
Sure.
Outside of that, because of social media, the NIL deals that occur in college that carry over into the WNBA in terms of name and face recognition for the players. A lot of things have changed, and we love that.
For
And not
sure.
begrudging that at all. So to be clear, but with that being said, what has the evolution of the women's game? What has that meant for each of you? And that's going to be a question just down the line, starting with Coach.
Yeah, I think just coming up, you know, as a sports savant, like all sports, women, men, and I have 5 sisters. You know, my sisters play sports, and my dad coached, my brother coached. So, look, just being around it, I've always appreciated it.
There you go.
You know, and respected it and supported it.
Right.
You know, and to see the way it's grown has been amazing, and to be a part of it. This is my 19th year coaching girls or women's basketball, and you know, I'm proud to be a part. I started out coaching men. I made a conscious decision. I could have stayed coaching men's basketball, but I made a conscious decision to go into a women's game because I valued it, and I value what the women and our young ladies bring to the table, and it's been the best experience of my life. It's my purpose to do what I'm doing now, right? I could be doing other things, but to be able to do it in this space has been amazing, and to be able to impact these young ladies' lives and create opportunities for them to impact others and represent their families, represent themselves in our university. And it's been amazing. So it's like you said, women's basketball has been a thing, and women's sports has been a thing for a long time now. But now people are just starting to appreciate it.
Yes.
And not that we're mad at it, but we've been doing this.
Right.
You know, and it's great for them to get the recognition that they need. And it's not about Title IX. It's just about what they deserve and what we deserve. Because we put in the same hours.
Absolutely.
You know, we invest just as much, sacrifice just as much as others.
Oh, get me
you know,
started.
so-
My church fan. I need a church fan right now. You are
Amen.
purpose-driven right here, and the
Yes,
word
ma'am.
value shining through with you. But I want to know what you two feel like being in the thick of it, right? To have those little eyes upon you, right? You once had those little eyes on others ahead of you, and that impacted you clearly, right? To be where you are. But what does that feel like to be on the inside, looking out now at those little eyes that are inspired by what you're doing?
I think it feels great, like just seeing like how many fans come, especially my family. They always make sure to be there. And I just think it's like an awesome opportunity to be able to be a part of that growth, especially.
Right.
And then for me, like passing it on, I would say like just putting on for my Samoan culture is like a big thing for me. Letting those little girls know like they're able to be on the stage and I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like women's sports are much more than deserving of the spotlight, and it took a while, but it's finally here and hopes to just increase in the future more and more. I mean, we see like the expansion of the WNBA, which is cool to be living through it, and like having one come to our hometown, like the Golden State Valkyries. I feel like it's a really cool experience, and I just can't wait to see like where this game goes. Even when I'm done playing, just still being around it and seeing how the expansion of women's sports is growing. It's just going to be a beautiful thing. And I know that little girls, like C said, like I think of my little sister, like just know that spaces are open for them and like the opportunities are endless. So.
Oh my gosh, incredibly beautiful and inspiring at the same time. You know, I'm loving it. Welcome to the W. I'm gonna say that. Everybody, welcome to the W.
Exactly. Well, and speaking of the W, the biggest thing in women's basketball right now, WNBA finals going on. So we're gonna wrap it up with this going down the line. Coach, starting with you. Who you got? Minnesota, New York.
I like the underdog, Minnesota, and I love Reeves does a great job. They're scrappy. You know, they don't have a lot of star power. They have some good players, but they don't have a lot of star power, but they play great team basketball, you know, and I love that.
Yeah, Fee's a beast now. Fee's a beast. Don't forget about the Fee.
No. They have star power with her.
Okay.
But collectively, if you look at the
I got
Liberty
you.
versus
With the litany of Olympians.
Yes.
Super
team.
Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
So,
I'm
but
just trying
yes,
to make
no,
sure we
she's definitely a beast.
Yeah. No,
yes.
For sure. Who y'all have?
Well, we got asked this question earlier, but
Oh,
I put
okay.
the links also.
Okay.
Because I don't know, I just feel like from that first game, and just Nafisa, and something about her energy and just that team overall. Like Jeff said, they are the underdogs, and like they're just willing to bring it. I mean, Liberty is good too. I'm not downplaying that.
Understood.
But something about, I don't know, the Lynx. I just have a feeling that they're going to stay on top.
Yeah.
Well, I have Liberty.
She's like, I'm going the other way.
I always love watching Sabrina play, and I'm a point guard as well. So just like just looking up to her, I just love watching her play. So of course I'm gonna stand on her.
I love that. Hey, man. Hey, look, Courtney Williams almost popped my hamstring. She hit that 3 and got fouled that time. I jumped out of my seat. I lost my collective mind in that moment. But Calvin Wetzel, Christy Winter-Scott, this is St. Mary's. Look for them to do some great things this season. And the WCC.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for joining
Thank you for your
us.
time. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Her Hoop Stats coverage of the WCC Media Days here in Vegas. I'm Christy Winter-Scott, joined by Calvin Wetzel, and we are here with the Portland women's basketball team. And we have with us Michael Meeks, the head coach, and we're going to let the student athletes introduce themselves as a little mini media training session that we're having over here with Her Hoop Stats. So we'll start with you guys.
Maybe share.
And your classification and beautiful.
Amazing burnout.
Fantastic. And coach, I know it's been a long day, a lot of questions being asked about the upcoming season. We're just going to get right to it with the two new teams added into the West Coast Conference and the challenge that it already was, but now even more so with an extra added bit of spice with those two new teams. What are you anticipating from your team this year in terms of navigating that new road?
Well, first of all, I'm really excited for our team. I mean, we just have such a great culture. And as I've stated a few other times, I mean, we're one of a few programs that didn't lose anybody. We have 11 players. You know, we graduated 3 great ones, but we have 11 players back. You know, we're fully aware how good our league has been and now continues to be, you know, with the additions of, you know, the Oregon State, Washington State are both great teams, a great program. So, but I think as a program and a team, like, I think we've done a really good job just focusing on ourselves. You know, like, we can't really spend a lot of time worrying about other things other than what we control, what we can get better at. And I think that's been a staple for our program, and we're going to have to do that more than ever this year. So.
Right. And what are those things that you have to control and get better at as the season continues to unfold here in the preseason games that you're going to have, as well as the non-conference portion and into conference play?
Well, we have what's called our standards of success, and that's effort, communication, engagement, being coachable, and being great teammates. Like, those are the kind of 5 things that not only we expect out of our players, but we want our coaching staff to model as well. So, like, I feel like those are the things when, like, throughout the year we talk about it. We don't, like, just show it on a board, but we're constantly trying to help our players improve in that area, make sure our coaches are on board in that area. And when we get into the playoffs, we're completely centered on how can we be the closest to our potential as a team and individuals in those 5 areas.
Right.
Well, and outcoming players, when it comes to, you know, all the returners that you mentioned and having played with everyone at this point for a while, how has this offseason and preseason kind of compared to your previous ones now, just having so many people back?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice having a lot of familiar faces, but I think it's important to, start every season the same way. And although we ended really well last season, had a lot of success, it's a new year, and it doesn't really matter anymore. So we kind of had to start from scratch again. Obviously, having played now with Maisie for 4 years and lots of other girls for multiple years, super, super helpful. But I think we still have to find a way to reset every year and kind of start from the beginning and just kind of figure out how we're gonna do it again, hopefully.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we have a lot of returners, a lot of experience, a lot of people who know our system, know our culture, know our program, and so returning that is actually very, very valuable in that aspect of we don't have to start over as much. But like Emmy said, it's a new season, new goals or same goals, but just a way that we can work every day to get to those goals at the end.
And 19 wins last season for the team coach. And, as you said, at the end of the year, you came on strong when you needed to. So the carryover, even though it's a different team and the dynamics are different and the 3 players graduated, moved on. So what is it about that, the way that you ended last year? What aspects of that push do you want to see magnified and almost replicated this season for your team at the beginning?
Well, I think going into every year, we do want to get off to a better start this year because we feel like we're capable of playing better in the preseason and starting off better. But I think the leadership we have with Emmy and Maisie, and we have Mikkel back for a 5th year, and we have Alexis and Trista and Emma, we have 6 seniors this, so I feel like we have such a great, upper class of leadership that in one of the things last year, even when we went through a 4-game losing streak late and knew we could have been playing better, it was the players that kept each other in it and never, maybe if anything came together more as a team because they knew we were capable of being better and they trusted in our coaching staff. And you could hear them say that, to each other. And to me, that's always been our goal is how can we be the best version of ourselves in March and the getting better 1% every day is really something that I think our players have done an awesome job with. And I feel like we're walking out of every practice feeling like we got a little bit better today, and if we can keep doing that, we feel like we're going to be in a good place at the end of the year.
Yeah, even if it's understanding something a little bit better, right? The execution will continue to develop.
Yeah, and Coach, what are some of those things? Obviously, on paper, your team looks a lot similar, maybe compared to some other teams with so many people back, but some of those things that you do hope this team is better at, or maybe just look different in terms of strengths and weaknesses, style of play on the court compared to last year's team?
Yeah, I think, we obviously won a couple championships in a row, but I feel like we also graduated 3 really good seniors, and they were great leaders and great teammates, and so it's not something that we're going to replace. I mean, we had one of the nation's best shot blockers, right? That, we had somebody that was tournament MVP last year, so we have a lot that we know, but we do know that we need to improve on our ability to guard inside, our ability to rebound. I think we're capable of taking care of the ball better. I think we do have such great length and versatility, probably the most length and versatility as a team that we've had that, I think everyone buying into it could be Emmy's night one night, it could be Maisie's the next, it could be Nat the next, it could be Alexis, teams that buy into those things, the star of the team is the team, right? And I think our team has done an awesome job with that and sharing each other's successes and failures. And this team is going to need to do that as much as any team that we've had because we probably have the most overall talent we've had too. So,
right. And with that being said, just the overarching values that women's basketball has continued to earn and gain over the years, what have you seen as maybe the biggest jump in the respectability that the women's game has been receiving as of late on all levels, high school, college, and in the WNBA?
I just think more visibility, right? I mean, there's just been so much more. And if you take time to actually get to watch it or have the venue to watch, it's such an awesome game. Yeah. And we have had teams that care about each other so much, care about teamwork, care about execution. it is the most fun game of basketball to watch, and the NCAA women's basketball tournament is just a special time. And I don't necessarily think the game has changed as much as people are just taking time to watch it, right?
That part.
And that to me has been the biggest difference in having the platform to watch it, right? Like, because you can't watch it if you don't have the platform. And I think that the platform is growing, which is just helping the game grow.
Absolutely. And for you too, just to have the little eyes upon you while you're in the thick of it, right? You just had your little eyes on someone, when they were playing older than you. But when you have that responsibility to be gatekeepers of where this game is going right now, what does that feel like for each of you?
I mean, it's just the game has been able to provide us with so much. So I think being able to do what we can in our part to continue to grow that and continue to let, little girls who kind of like were like us have that opportunity to play and the opportunity to just watch and, idolize someone and want to be like someone and take the time when we get it to, kind of like talk to them, kind of connect with them. So, because those are the moments I remember when I was little talking to like my favorite player that you remember for a long time. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree. Like reflecting on like when I was growing up, just how many people like I looked up to, or just the game itself has just changed, and the fact that it is more accessible, visible, and stuff. So I hope that even if our impact is little to someone, I hope it's a good one that everyone can look up to and just idolize. And I think it's such a important thing to connect to the young audience, and so I don't take that lightly, and it's an honor to an extent.
Yeah, the journey is the dream. That's what I like to say. It's a major deal.
Absolutely. And yeah, the biggest thing in women's basketball right now to kind of close out that we've been asking everyone, WNBA finals going on. So we're going to go down the line and put you on the spot, starting with you, Coach. Minnesota, New York, who you got?
I'm going to go with New York.
Okay.
I like their team, and they have a team with some Oregon ties, so that's cool too.
Right.
So, yeah.
I would say New York as well.
I'm gonna go off the list.
Okay, I was about to say we have a trifecta.
I love
Nafisa Collier.
but I do like the New York as well. So.
Right. Yeah. I hope it goes 5. The game wins at the end of the day, right? As it has been doing. So, hey, thank you all for joining us here. And we look forward to great things from your team and program this year on and off the court.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Okay, we'll come in live. Hey, welcome back. We're here live from Vegas on the Her Hoop Stats Network. We're bringing you the WCC Media Day. I'm Christy Winter-Scott, joined by Calvin Wetzel. And right now we have Pepperdine program here. The head coach is Katie Faulkner, and we're going to let the student athletes introduce themselves because we're also having this serve as media training for the student athletes. So we're just having a little fun. So we need your name, your classification, and if you would like to add your major, some have been doing that. Not a requirement, but you can, bring it to the table. All right. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm McKenna. I'm a grad transfer and I'm in an MSP program.
Hey, I'm Maggie Bick. I'm a senior and I'm a pre-law political science major.
Let's go. Student athletes. I love
yeah.
it. And Katie, you know what? I know you've seen a lot of your colleagues walking around, a lot of the players you all are going to be playing against. So I know those wheels are turning, the fire burning. What does it feel like as we're all at the precipice of the college basketball season beginning?
I just would say grateful. We are a very trust the process program. And so, one day at a time, I think just seeing everyone, obviously the urgency of the time is ticking. We look at that calendar back in July and things are far, far away. And then you look at the calendar now and you're like, oh, okay, we're a week out, And so being here just makes it that much more exciting. But I think we have a lot of road left ahead of us and we're just excited.
Right. And a couple new teams added to the mix to make it a little more fun for everyone. What is that going to feel like for you all competing on the court?
I would say exciting, man. I mean, as a competitor, I want to go out and play the best teams, and I want to play the best players and give them my best. And I think adding 2 great teams in Washington State and Oregon State just makes this already super competitive conference just even more competitive, and really just like excites the competitor within me for sure.
Right. Same for you.
Yeah, Max took it straight out of my mouth. I'm just really excited this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and coach, in your first year, how have you been trying to establish culture and identity, and what identity do you want to establish? What do you want your teams to be known for in terms of how you play?
I love that. Yeah, I mean, when I first came here, what I loved was meeting with the players one-on-one, to really just explain the culture and the standard of like, hey, we want to be a culture where it's okay to make mistakes, but we also want to be a culture where you learn from those mistakes. And so it's not okay not to learn from them. And so, we are, you'll hear it a lot, compete, grow, serve are our pillars. It's something that we are moving towards. Those are our guiding forces every single day. Do we hit them every day? No, but we're headed that direction, And so you're going to see a competitive program. You're going to see a different program every day because we're going to continue to grow, learn from our mistakes, get better and better. And so by the end, I keep saying it, but when you have character and hard work coupled together, amazing things can happen by the end of it. And so we're really excited. These 2 young women next to me have just embodied that and really bought in, and it's exciting.
Yeah. And with those pillars, to that point, right? How do you take those entities and pour them into your execution on the floor? Stylistically, what does that feel like and look like for you all this season?
I think coach says it a lot in practice. The standard is the standard, and so not deviating from that and just knowing that it lays the foundation for really anything we do both on and off the court. So I think just honing in on that really helps.
Yeah, I think it is something that we can fall back on. We won't make every shot. We won't be perfect. We're going to turn the ball over. Things are going to look messy at times. We can always compete. We can always grow and learn from those mistakes, and we can always serve the teammates and the people around us. So I think for us, they're really just the rock and the foundation that our team falls back upon, and that like we can continue to grow and upon every day too.
And coach, to that point, when you have them bought into that emotional aspect of what teamwork means, what does that look like for your team? If you were talking to a group of people that have never seen you play, what should they expect this team to look like stylistically and X and O wise on the court?
Yeah, I mean, from a basketball standpoint, we just talked about the other day in the film room, the difference between react and respond, right? And so I believe that we have a team that will respond well. And so every game is going to be different. You look around, obviously this is an elite conference with amazing coaches, and fun every night. It's a battle, man. It's freaking war. And so there's challenges within that, but it's a puzzle and it's fun to put together. And so, we've evolved as we go. And I think, like we said, we could run anything. I told them there's no magic formula, right? But how you cut, how you screen,
how about that?
How you run, how you talk, how you communicate, that is really the magic, right? The threads of basketball. And so again, that goes back to competing in everything we do. Like if we have a water break, man, that's going to be an amazing water break, right? Like we're communicating, we're chatting, we're high five, we're tapping up, hey, how are you doing? And so that's the culture and the movement at Pepperdine right now.
Do I have a 5th year left of the COVID year or something like that?
You already got the orange.
You ready? Something bounce. Okay. Something else. Love it.
Well, Maggie, from your perspective, as someone who was with this program and now is with this program under the first year of Coach Faulkner, like, what has it been like, just the energy in practice and kind of, how have things been from your perspective this year?
I mean, things have been so great. I would just say we were so blessed to receive such a great leader, person, and coach all in one. Like, we really got the full package. And so the team has really just like surrounded her, and we are all so bought in because this is the person that we were like craving and like wanting to come in, and just everything she's done, she's laid the foundation, like I said, with compete, grow, serve. And I think we've all just really bought into that, not only on the court, but like in our lives. So it's just been really great to see everybody rally around her and rally around with each other and just try to attack the season and be the best we can be.
How does that feel for you to hear that?
I mean, I told her to say that. No. No, I mean, of course, these are two exceptional women. I mean, I'm learning from them every day. It's just an honor to hear that. And I feel that. I do. I feel there's immense buy-in, and I'm so proud of everyone showing up and wanting to do it, not perfectly, but again, like moving forward. And so I do feel that with this team, and it is very special and dangerous, I would say. Dangerous when coupled in the right way.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick.
No, very sweet.
Coach, so when you take over this program in year one, how do you go about talking about or setting goals, whether it's anything like tangible in terms of wins, losses, statistics, or just kind of intangible goals, things that you want to see from the start as you build this program?
Yeah, so interesting because you're her hoop stats, right? And so I'm like, oh, stats, here we go. I love stats because data points, right? And I think McKenna said it earlier today at some point. Performance is not linear. Right. And so performance, is a data points, right? So today is a data point, which, could be here, could be there, could whatever. And, eventually we want that to be trending up, right? We want those data points to be moving in that direction. And so, but it starts with 1 point, one habit, one day, what'd you eat for breakfast? And did we show up 30 minutes before? Are we ready, mentally focused? And, it's so cliche, right? Trust the process, in our sports world. But it truly is. Let's focus on those data points stacked together, coupled together, right? And maybe now you start bringing teammates in. Hey, what do you have for breakfast? Hey, let's go to breakfast together. If you just start with breakfast, I don't know why I picked that, but I did. I picked breakfast. And, and then, gosh, now you have a movement of really well-fed, we're fueled, we're ready for practice. And so, those have been the main points, honestly, of just let's start with our habits and what habits move us towards competing, growing, and serving each other well.
Right. It's the progress of the process that you have to trust, right? And whatever that means incrementally, it adds up. So for sure.
Yeah, and as you enter your first year, what is something that maybe you have learned through your coaching experience before this that you're glad coming into your first year in this job?
Oh, that's such a great question. I'm so honored to have coached for and worked with some of the most brilliant minds. I mean, one's here today, Scott Rook, and then Tina Langley at Washington, and then played for Robin Selvig, who's a Hall of Famer, and so have been a part of amazing coaching trees. So to be able to be on the sidelines, I think now more than anything, I recognize how grateful I am for that, especially stepping into the head coach eyes, where you're like, whoa. And so, I got the opportunity to walk into Oregon State when we won the Pac-12, and so got to walk into an elite caliber program. And then I got to go to Washington and be a part of a complete rebuild and a culture overhaul and work for an amazing person in Tina Langley. And so, are you ever ready? I don't know. I wasn't ready to be a mom, but here we are. And so, I love just, like I said, buying into that and, being able to have great people around me, obviously the two sitting next to me. I hired an amazing staff, would go up against anyone with them in the country. And so, it's been really fun.
I'm a mom of 3, so I can attest to that.
Yes.
And I have to ask a motherhood question.
Please.
How has motherhood adapted you to take care of other people's children?
Well, it's really the drooling. I'm just kidding. I have little. So
okay.
I have a little 1-year-old and 3-year-old. No, I think the beauty of parenting I've learned is that when I don't put expectations onto my children, I can just fall in love with who they are. And then I can know them and love them and help them become who they're supposed to be. They're their own little tiny human.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I get to help guide them. But if I put expectations on them and a structure around them, hey, this is what you should be, that's hard. And so I think with coaching, very similar.
Yes.
Of if I expect this day to be a certain way or expect her to be a certain thing, well, that's where frustration, disappointment, all those things happen, and they don't become who they're supposed to become. So, obviously the chaos is chaos, but basketball court is chaos, beautiful chaos. But I would say it's very parallel.
Yes. Yeah. And speaking of parallel, it's like bumpers on the bowling alley.
Yep.
That's what But my kids are way older. We'll talk.
And
you're on the right track.
All the advice.
You're on the right track, though.
Good.
I want to shift gears a little bit and put the players on the spot here
Good.
through
Finally.
the first month or so. Do you have a least favorite drill that coaches running?
We've had some really
We've
great
had some
answers
great
to this
answers, so
and,
we
and non
gotta bring the hard-hitting questions.
So we'll see what you,
You
guys
can be
say.
real. I know which one.
So, thinking hard here.
Really dislike.
If you can't think
Or
of
the
it, we
most
can ask
challenging.
Coach
What's the
which one.
most challenging? How
I
about
was
that?
gonna say
Baseline.
I was gonna say this is 10-5 count drill. That was my first reaction.
Which is a down and
Which is a down.
Okay.
But that doesn't count. I would say either weaves, rush, two back, which is like the transition based, like running through and weave kind of drill that we do. But we have been able to see a lot of growth in that, which has been really rewarding. Or I would say Mikan. We go through a Mikan series, and then my neck ends up like broken
Oh,
like
yeah,
this,
the
and I'm
neck.
dizzy, and I'm
The
like,
neck.
what is going on?
Yeah, the neck is for that.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So those are my
Simple. Yeah.
Let's say you.
Ooh, maybe Mike is just because my arms are a little short. So like I see Max, I see Meg are at 6'6" posts, like just barely jumping, and I'm like trying to heave the ball and it one handed.
Yeah.
I'm just like keep it high, keep it
Your
high.
numbers
Like,
are significantly lower.
yeah, I will say that is
The
that is a
arms?
growth area
Yeah.
for myself for sure that I need to work on.
I gotcha.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
well, we just got the 1 minute signal, so I'm
Oh,
going to
okay.
ask you the question that we've been asking everyone to wrap it up
Yeah,
here.
security.
WNBA Finals going on Game 3 tonight. Go down the line. Start with Coach. Who you got?
Well, obviously, the Liberty.
Okay.
Liberty.
Liberty is
Oh, another. We've gotten a
Second team all
lot.
day that's all agreed.
All three. We've had some splintering of the notions there, but you all were
We're
on the same
united.
track.
Yeah.
United on and off the floor.
United.
We are
We did
looking
not
forward.
rehearse that.
You did not rehearse it. They did not rehearse it. Okay. No cash apps if you say no cash apps. I love it. And that's another thing, kids, when they get older,
Oh gosh.
cash app. Yeah, get ready for that. Okay. Anyway, we're going to be looking forward to great things from Pepperdine this season. Thank you all for joining us, and we can't wait to watch you guys hoop.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
All right, we'll be right back. Oh, wait, are you guys good? I'm giving thumbs up. But I did that for me. You guys, everyone set? Okay. You can just set it on the floor, I guess. Yeah, it's long enough. You're good. All right. All right. We are live. The beauty of live is alive and well right now. We are here on the Her Hoop Stats Network from Vegas, and we are live with the WCC Conference Media Days. I'm Christy Winter-Scott, joined with Calvin Wexel, and we are really ready to get right into it with the coach from Pacific. We have our coaches, our coach, is Bradley Davis, and we're going to have the student athletes introduce themselves.
My name is Stella.
And your class and your last name. Or this is like a media training too. We didn't tell you that part.
My name is Stella Sabo. I'm a redshirt freshman. Yes.
Awesome.
And my name is Liz Smith, and I am a fifth-year senior.
I love that. And Bradley, I know that it's exciting, right? You're on the precipice of another season beginning, especially in conference play, but that's down the road a little bit. You have the preseason to prepare for that. And what is the most, I guess, important aspect of how your team should be playing to be successful headed into the non-conference portion of the season first?
Good question. I think I'm going to kind of rewind a little bit. The most important aspect is that these last 28 days, 18 days of practice go pretty well. We have to treat those like games, treat those like competitions in order for us to be ready for that. And then for us, we're going to have to defend well, and we're going to have to set the pace of the game. I think when we set a pace, it's really beneficial to us offensively. And in order to do that, we have to defend well.
Right. And with having a couple new teams added to the conference, how do you think that changes it? And in what aspects do you feel like it will change the conference with the two new teams being added?
I think for us, everything's going to stay the same. Only thing that I think it changes is how many teams we have to play, honestly. And I feel like the whole conference is new. There's a lot of new players. Yeah. Obviously, two new teams, and they have a lot of new players. So that, right now it's hard to tell. Maybe ask me in like a month or two. But right now, we're just focused on us. We're not focused on anybody else. We have however many days, 20 days until we play, and we're focused on Stanislaus State, who's our first game, and that's the answer I'm gonna give you right now.
Locked in. I like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're probably just gonna focus on ourselves because that's what matters, and go back to practice. That's all we can control right now. And overall, it's just gonna be more fun to play new teams.
Yeah.
And Coach, when you look at this year's team, maybe compared to last year's team, we'll talk a little bit about the roster, returners and newcomers, but just in terms of style, strengths, weaknesses, things like that, are there any ways that you see this year's team kind of being different from last year's team?
I don't know. That's a little bit. That'll take a little bit of time to see just how different. Obviously, style will have a couple of new different wrinkles here and there, but the style pretty much stays the same. We've recruited to that a little. I think we'll probably, at the end of it, I think we'll shoot a little bit better from the three-point line than we did. There's a focus on the defensive end. We want to not give up as many points and have a better, defensive percentage in what we're doing. So I'm hoping that those are 2 or 3 stylistic changes that we actually can make. And I think if we do, we can be pretty decent.
And tactically speaking, you're talking about the recruiting being an aspect of how you want to play stylistically. How has the NIL and the transfer portal, how has that impacted how you approach recruiting?
Well, you go back to the last question. One thing we are fortunate is to have the returners that we do. Right. And I think to have that consistency, especially in our 3 main players, Liz Elliott, Nia James, and Liz Smith, we can rely on that. And that goes to the recruiting piece. 2 of them are 4th-year seniors, one's a 5th-year senior. Right. Last year we had a 6th-year, a 5th-year, and a couple 4-year seniors. So for us in the recruiting piece, we wanted to focus on culture. We continue, I'm a teacher at heart, so we continue to focus on academic being a part of the reason you go to college. Is to earn a degree in the field that you want to earn a degree, not in the degree that's the only thing you can do because I transferred 3 times, right? So that's something we talk about in recruiting. And if we lose a couple people because of that in recruiting, so be it. I'd rather have players that want to be at Pacific as much as we want them to be at Pacific. We were joking a little bit. You're looking at conference certain players, I don't know who's on what team anymore because we've got so many people that are jumping from one team to the next within conference.
Right.
And yeah, so
how about
well,
that?
we'll see. It's all different.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when coming to the players, Liz and Stella, you guys push the pace, you share the ball a lot. How fun is it for you to play in that type of style? Liz, obviously, haven't played for a few years. Stella kind of just gets started in that. Start with Liz. How fun is that for you?
I mean, it's a lot of fun to be able to run and push the pace and get everybody involved. I mean, that's how I've played at this school for the past 5 years or past 4 years, and I'm excited to do it one more time. Yeah, it's super fun, and I think it brings a lot of energy to the team. It brings a lot of energy for the fans when we play at home, and it really just gets us going and energizes us, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say we both have a very fast pace when we play, and overall, that's what we're trying to do with our team as well. Just push the pace because that's how we play the best.
And pushing the pace is something that women's basketball has done, right, over years. But there has been an explosion, if you will, a groundswell of interest and eyeballs as of late. Coach, what has that felt like for you to see the game evolve the way that it has? And there were eyes on the game long before there have been eyes on it now, but it's different.
Yeah, it's different and it's fun. And, you get asked certain questions about, well, do you like this player? Do you think she's good? Or do you like her more than you like her? And that's part of what makes people interested in sports. Is you have players that some people do that love and others that they don't love. And then it's the flip for others. And when you have that kind of interest and that kind of parity in interest in different players and personalities that get amplified by media, that's why people want to come watch. There's storylines now to watch as well. And now you're reading storylines and you're watching that, and you're like, oh, this is a really good game. This is a good sport. And I think it's fun to see it just kind of take off. And again, I think there's always been these groundswells in women's basketball. I'm old, 20, 30 years, whatever it's been. But it's another one, and it's kind of fun.
Right. And with you all being in the trenches of it right now, with little eyes upon you, you once had those little eyes upon players that were on the collegiate level. And now you see the NIL deals occurring in college basketball. You see players on TV, and now you have the interest level also growing in that way, right? With companies investing in student athletes at the collegiate level and carrying that marketing over into the WNBA. And I know with the WNBA now, almost in 30 years, what have you seen on the inside of it as a young girl seeing the WNBA grow and then seeing college players in the last 3-4 years being on commercials and then carrying that name, image, and likeness onto the WNBA landscape?
Well, I'll just say when I was little, I had a cutout sticker that was like life size of Candace Parker in my garage growing up, and I would look at it every single day. And to see how much the game has grown since then has been amazing. Like, I mean, I love women's basketball. My family loves women's basketball. My stepdad, he'll call me and say, "Did you see what Nafisa Collier did?" I'm like, "How you know Nafisa Collier?" And I think that just shows like there's just been so much more coverage and so much more eyes and attention put on it, and I love it. And just being in it, like you said, being in the trenches, it's felt great, to have people actually care about our games and to care about, the hours that we put in every single day. And even to have a male coach like Bradley it's awesome. Like he's a man that cares about us and he cares about what we do every single day. And I mean, that to me has just been the best part, is just seeing how much people care about it.
Yeah. And for you, what's your take on that?
I would definitely say, coming from Sweden, where college basketball was not really a big thing until now, like I feel like more and more people talk about it internationally as well. That's also why I feel like there's more international people coming into college basketball. And the way the WNBA has grown, it's really been more and more inspiring as well. And I think it's really cool that there is more and more, small girls that can have WNBA players at college that they can look up to. And so like more and more, can get a college degree and try to fight for actually going to school and play basketball at a higher level.
Love that.
Well, Liz, you mentioned fees, so we got to wrap up with this question we've been asking everyone all day, and you guys are the last ones. Putting you on the spot, starting with you, Coach, and down the line. WNBA Finals, Liberty Lynx, who you got?
Put him on the
Seattle
spot.
Storm, just because I'm a fan.
Yeah, me too.
I will also say Liberty, but I really, really want the Lynx to win. I really, really do. I really, really do. But I think the Liberty just have a tremendous team. The depth that they have is unreal. I think they're a great team. So I think they're going to win.
Yeah, well, you all are a great team that we're looking forward to watch compete in conference and otherwise. And we appreciate you guys sharing some time with us today.
Thanks for having us.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Thank you so much. And we'll be right back. All right, we will bring it in live here. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Media Day coverage live from Las Vegas for the West Coast Conference. We're joined now by the commissioner of the West Coast Conference, Stu Jackson. I'm Christy Winter-Scott. And of course, I got my guy here, Calvin Wexel. But Stu, it has to be an exciting time for you. A couple of new teams joining the conference, but everyone else already established. And what has that felt like for you to get the proper pieces together to form this highly competitive conference?
Well, it's interesting. When we embarked upon this journey to add Washington State and Oregon State as affiliates, we were willing participants, obviously getting two very quality institutions to join, a conference like ours, which is a relationship that, quite frankly, has never really existed. A conference partnership between, an FCS conference and to get FBS members. So we were pleased about that. But competitively, it really works to our advantage, we think, and particularly in the sport of women's basketball, you get into historically powerful women's programs that will not only provide more competition, but result in increasing or enhancing the metrics for all of the other schools in the West Coast Conference. And you hope at some level it helps them gain greater access to the NCAA tournament at some point.
Yeah, and speaking of the NCAA tournament, like obviously, Gonzaga is year in, year out in there, and you've had a few years recently where they get knocked off in the conference tournament, and then you guys get two teams in, and like last year, Gonzaga still goes on a deep run. Then, like, how big is that for the conference when you can get multiple teams in and have one of them maybe win some games?
Well, it's terrific. We've been a multi-bid conference since 2019. Certainly, we hope that continues this year. But any time that you have multiple teams in the NCAA tournament, it just gives you a higher probability of visibility nationally, and that's what you're going for, so to speak. This is an excellent conference in women's basketball, and will continue undoubtedly this season.
Can you expound upon what it takes to, get the teams that you would like in the conference, and what that process is like for you and your group of decision makers, and who makes it and who doesn't make it? What's the criteria for you?
No, it's a good question. I mean, ultimately, I'm the steward of the conference. This conference really belongs, at least in my mind, to its members, and that includes the student athletes, the coaches, the administrators, and certainly the presidents. But as you make decisions about, particularly in this crazy environment of realignment, who to partner with, it's just important from the WCC standpoint that we get schools that are competitive in women's and men's basketball. Because at the end of the day, being in a basketball-centric conference, that drives the engine for all the other sports in our conference. And that's okay to say, because that's who we are, that's our identity. And as we move forward making decisions about who will join this conference, that'll be a driving force.
Well, one of the things that I've always been interested in with the WCC and men's and women's basketball is the conference tournament and kind of the laddered by format, if you want to call it that. Like, what to you makes the conference tournament and the WCC so exciting and so unique?
Well, the schools, the teams, the athletes, the coaches, the band and cheer. That's what really makes it exciting. But certainly from a competitive standpoint, our format in the championship is unique, I would say. Unconventional, some might say. It's worked well for us up till now, but going forward, we need to look at and continue to reevaluate whether or not that championship format is the best for us.
And just assess what it has felt like to see the explosion and groundswell of women's basketball, especially over the last couple of years. When I played, there were crowds and there were packed gymnasiums, but it seems to be a different feel. Can you assess what that means for you to see the women's game growing the way that it has as of late?
Well, yeah, personally, it means a great deal to me because I certainly remember, as you did when you played, when women's sports national exposure wasn't what it is today. But I would say that on a professional level, it's long overdue.
Thank you.
It really is long overdue, and the train had left the station a long time ago. It's just coming down the track at full force. And like a lot of professional sports, it takes something to ignite, that exposure, that popularity, and national prominence. And I felt that that's been building over the last years. That ultimately, really reached its peak last year with the rivalries in women's basketball between LSU and Iowa. And that's what it takes. It takes something to ignite that spark to really vault it to a new level.
And do you also attribute it a little bit to the NIL situations for the student athletes and the name, image, and likeness in commercials when they're still in college, and how that has been able to catapult the recognition on into the WNBA and the marketing on that side?
Yeah, without question. And we all watch, right? And for lack of technical analysis, it's just cool. It's like cool to see people like Juju and Paige Beckers doing what they do, both on social media platforms and on the broadcast. And for every time that we see them, it's just one more tick towards popularity, notoriety that ultimately is going to be financially beneficial to all female athletes. And I suspect that, at least at a competitive level, the same thing will continue to happen in volleyball and other women's sports. And it's just great. Look, it's women's time. I mean, today we just witnessed Unrivaled getting a broadcast media deal
with TNT.
With TNT.
Yes.
And, the beat goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I've been curious about as a conference commissioner, there's only 31 or 32 D1 conference commissioners. It's a unique job. What do you enjoy the most about what you do, or what's kind of your favorite part of that?
Well, my favorite part of it, I've gotten a heavy dose of in the last year, in that every day that I come into the office, I never know what to expect. And in this ever-changing environment with realignment and the financial implications, the broadcast implications, trying to navigate our conference, or help navigate our conference through that, is very challenging. At the same time, it's pretty stimulating as well. And I'm having a lot of fun with it on most days. On some days, I have a running joke with my staff, and I tell them, listen, today, someone else got to be commissioner. I don't really want to.
A lot going on.
Yeah, but there is a significant amount of activity going on, but it's fun.
And if you had just a couple of words of wisdom for people who may be new to this conference and what it all entails and what the success level and the expectations are in your mind, what would you say to them?
I would say that this conference is really special. For a long time, the WCC and its members have had a standard of excellence across all sports. They've competed for national championships in sports like volleyball and beach volleyball and tennis and soccer and on and on. But with the continued improvement of women's basketball in this conference, the combination of those two things, women's basketball and our historical excellence, can really make this conference special. And now that we're on ESPN Plus and other streaming, the streaming platform, there's opportunity to actually see us. You should take a look. That'd be my advice.
I love that.
I love that too. And the question that we've been kind of wrapping up with all day with all the coaches, and now we're going to put you on the spot too. WNBA Finals. Sloot is obviously playing, WCC alum. Liberty Lynx, who you got?
I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go with Liberty. I'm a longtime New Yorker. For the last 23 plus years, so I'm a little bit biased.
I love it. I love it. Well,
Liberty it is.
Liberty it is.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time that you share with us today, and all the coaches so intriguing, all the student athletes even more so. And it's just been a delight to be involved with covering your conference today.
And thanks to the both of you for doing what you do.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, that's going to end it for us today here live from Vegas. We had a great time, if I must say so myself, Calvin.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and stick with us all season long. We're only a week away from getting things started on the collegiate level, but still the WNBA finals. I'm going to ask you, Calvin, who do you have?
Ooh, I wanted to go 5, but I'm going to say Liberty.
I'm going to say the WNBA wins. The game wins. And I wanted to go 5. Overtime buzzer beater. I'll take it. All the excitement. We'll bring it all to you right here on the Her Hoops Stats Network. I'm Christy Winter-Scott for Calvin Wexel and Stu Jackson. We'll see you guys next time.